Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Kresge Gymnasium on the campus of Albion College. Jim Funderburg along with Jim Bellamy as we're getting ready for a little ladies basketball this afternoon as the Bells from St. Mary's invade the Kresge to play the Brits from Albion. And Jimmo, you know, I'll tell you what, on paper, this may not look like a great game, but you never can tell about these things, and we are expecting some pretty good basketball on this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about with a representative from St. Mary's before we went on the air was the fact that this St. Mary's Bells squad is a very young team, and they lost their floor general, so to speak, due to an opportunity to study abroad that had been planned for some time. And so, you know, they have a fill-in at the point guard position, which I could argue is one of the most important positions on the basketball court.
No doubt.
We're talking about somebody who sets up the offense every trip down unless it's transition. And so to make that change with a young team at this midway point in the season, that's a lot to ask. But, you know, the young lady from St. Mary's mentioned that they have responded admirably, and because it's a young team, they've kind of set themselves some short-term goals, and they've done a good job of achieving some of those goals. So for a young team to have 7 wins and some in the conference, that's not bad. And there's still an opportunity to play spoiler, I think, with some teams. And they did make the MIAA tournament in the play-in game last year. So, you know, there's no reason to think that St. Mary's couldn't go on a little bit of a run. But if that's going to happen, it's going to have to start today. And that run's going to have to be a pretty significant one because, you know, sub-500 team at this point, you need to be above 500 to really kind of have that puncher's chance of getting in.
Well, you know, you mentioned the tournament last year. In fact, the Britons had won 11 in a row over the Bells until that play-in game last year, and the Bells actually came here to Albion and bumped the Lady Brits right out of the playoffs last year. This is the first opportunity to avenge that loss if you're looking at Coach Carden and her girls. And you would hope that basically that was the attitude that they have because, as we said the other night, you got a trying team coming in Wednesday. So this is one of those potential, you know, catch games that might get caught up in what's going to happen here Wednesday night, and you lose track of what's happening to you this afternoon right here at the Kresge.
And it's funny that we kind of had that exact same story play out on Wednesday night.
Yes.
When we looked at the men's team. You know, we're fortunate to have Coach May and Coach Carden. Both those teams have gotten off to a fantastic start so far this season, and they've done very well in the MIAA as well. And you look at a game like today, and it's, you know, again, 2 young teams. It's easy to imagine a situation where you look at the opponents that are coming up and how much is riding on those games. So these are the kind of games that can kind of sneak by you, and you can't have that happen if you want to stay at top because the Brits are already 2 out in the standings in the MIAA, and if they have any desire to host, they can't afford to drop really anymore. They need to kind of run the table or come pretty close to it. And a game like today is a game that you, like you said on paper, looks like you can get, but now the tough part comes. Now you have to actually go out for 4 quarters and you have to go get it.
You really do. The Brits average 75 a game. The Bells average 55 a game. Let's take a look at that conference that you alluded to a minute ago and the standings in this conference at this point because, you know, obviously you have the number 3 team in the nation that you're playing against at some point in time and hope, as they are undefeated right now, 8-0 in the conference, 17-0 overall in the season. And they are leading everything and everybody at this point in time as we finally wrap ourselves down to the last 4 weeks of the conference play at this point in time. Hard to imagine, but we've got basically 1 more full week of January, and then you got 3 weeks in February, and at that point in time, we face them off and play them for real, and the winner goes to the NCAA, and you can see right now how the conference breaks out here as we're working our way down the month of January.
And again, we talked about St. Mary's sitting there at 500. I said sub 500 is an overall record, but they're getting the wins that count, 4-4. They currently sit at the number 5 seed, looks like. So they would be a road team at a play-in game. And, you know, so they have a shot. But, you know, again, a game like today, I'm thinking, looking at it more through the lens of the Albion Britons. You talked about Hope being 8-0, 17-0 overall. and the fact that the Britons played them at their place and only lost by 2 points.
Yes.
So, Hope is a fantastic basketball team, and for the Britons to play them within 2 points on their floor, they're certainly circling that game coming up as an opportunity to say, maybe we'll be the first one to put a crooked number on that loss column, both in conference and overall, against a fantastic Hope team. And they did go to Trine, and the Britons do struggle in Angola.
Yes, they did.
But it's, I think, in great part to the fact that Trine has just a fantastic women's basketball team, and I don't know that it has anything necessarily to do with the floor. So, if you want to host, you're going to have to not only win games like today against teams that record-wise would suggest that you're a little bit better than this season, but you're also going to have to take that home court advantage, and you're going to have to make it count against two fantastic ball clubs coming up.
Well, we talk about that, and the Lady Britons are undefeated at home. They're 6-0. They're 5-3 on the road under Coach Doreen Carter. As you take a look at some of the numbers here for this team this year, it has been an interesting year, as you said. The squeaker in Hope, the tougher loss in Trine, but that was a Saturday afternoon where we had 4 players in foul trouble. And on that afternoon as well, you did lose your number 1 player, Rain Hinton, to 5 personal fouls. Emily Burness had 4 that afternoon. Wish had quite a few. It was one of those days where you just couldn't get away from the foul trouble and really open things up the way you'd like to. The good news is, again, we do have Hope coming our way the 29th day of January, and then Trine will be in here on the 12th day of February. So you have both of those opportunities coming your way before this season is over. And as you take a look around the conference this afternoon, on the women's side, there really is not that game that will jump out to you this afternoon and say, oh gosh, number 1 versus number 2. But you never can tell. As we said about this ball game this afternoon with St. Mary's, when you look down around that schedule, you've got Hope at Olivet. It's tough to win on the road. You've got Trine at Kalamazoo. It's tough to win on the road. And you've got Adrian at Alma to go along with this St. Mary's Albion game this afternoon. All of them 3:30 games except that Adrian-Alma game, and we will keep an eye on all of them as the afternoon goes on as we bring you this ball game here from the Kresge. When you go back to that time, though, Jim, and you go back to that tournament game, I think the thing that jumped out at me about that game last year for me, it happened on the 19th day of February. The Britons had just won against the Bells 71-58 at St. Mary's. And then they came back in that opening round, got beat 58-42 as the Bells came back a couple days later. You kind of wondered, did the Brits get a little bit too overconfident? And obviously the Bells were here to take care of business that night.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing that, if memory serves about that game, the Britons played probably about as flat as I can remember them playing, and it was one of those games that we kind of followed along, and you thought because of the previous result, and shame on me for thinking that it would be a similar result the next time. But it goes back to what you were saying at the open here, that just because a team is 7 games lower than their opponent, and they're at 500 in the conference compared to the Brits at 6-2. Number 1, that's only a 2-game difference in the conference. And number 2, St. Mary's doesn't care what the Britons' overall record is or the fact that they were nationally ranked a week or so ago. All they care about is what's going on today, and the tournament game kind of is proof of that. They had just lost by double digits, and then they go right back to the Britons' home floor, and they play some very inspired basketball, and they knock them out. So, again, this is the kind of game that you can't look past, and because of the tournament result from last year, I don't anticipate them doing so today.
Well, the Britons come in having won 2 out of the last 3. They sandwiched that Trine loss a week ago, 77-69, in between a couple of pretty good basketball games. They'd beaten Alma going into that game, 72-47. They were down 9 on Wednesday night, Jim, when we were watching the men here, and then they rallied to beat Calvin 77-69. Not an easy place to win. On that evening, Wishmeyer had 23, Burness had 20, and Rain Hinton's had 17. But the neat thing about that evening as well, Jim, was the fact that Rain Hinton hit a big milestone for any college basketball player.
Yeah, it was a historic night for Rain Hinton as she became the 11th Albion women's basketball player to reach 1,000 career points. And she got those in the first quarter, finishing the night with 17. And one of the cool things about Wednesday night is looking at the St. Mary's squad as well, Jim. They had a milestone scorer too.
Yeah, they really did. And it's hard to imagine that you have a couple of juniors in this league that have already eclipsed that 1,000-point mark, which means that they still have several games this year and an entire senior year to add on to those totals. But if you flip the coin on the other side of that equation, most assuredly Giovanna Paradiso basically did exactly the same thing that Rain Hinton did Wednesday night as she went over 1,000 points as well.
She had a 7-point swing late in the second quarter, or the team did, and it was capped off with Paradiso's 1,000th career point, and the team never trailed again in that victory over visiting Kalamazoo on Wednesday night. Paradiso, again, just, team's leading scorer with 23 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. She was their do-it-all player. And when you look at the season statistics for the Bells, you're going to hear that name called a lot. They're not as deep a team, but again, tremendous players at the top that will lead them, and that's why they are at 4-4 in a very tough conference.
She is only the fourth Lady Bell who has reached that 1,000-point mark. She reached it the second fastest in school's history. 16 points in the first half of that ball game. It was really a ball game where the Bells got off and turned things around and basically did what the Brits often do, get a nice lead and then just cruise it to the house. And I'm sure they're probably pretty confident coming in here this afternoon, thinking back a year ago when they were able to knock off the Britons in the tournament, and then also a little confidence and a little step that's probably a little lighter today than what it might normally be coming in after a loss. And again, the Bells come into this ball game this afternoon having basically won that game with Kalamazoo, but they had lost to Hope 76-41 and Trine 66-37 before that. So they snapped a couple game losing streak by winning the other night against Kalamazoo. And I got to believe that as they come in here this afternoon, they're going to be ready to play some basketball.
And something that you mentioned a moment ago, Jim, about Wednesday night's game for the Britons, falling behind early and then having to have a very strong second half to get back into it, take the lead, and hold them off. That's very reminiscent of the play-in game last year. And you can't afford, against a hungry squad that's looking to get to that upper echelon and possibly host a play-in game, you can't get to that position where you're down, say, 8-10 points and say, well, it's no big deal, we're a strong second half team. If you come out flat early and you allow the Bells to build a lead, especially if it's a double-digit lead, they may not cough that lead up.
Yeah.
And so I think it's, we always talk about how important it is to get off to a strong start. I would argue that because of the result on Wednesday night, getting off to that slow start, there hasn't been a more important game for it to happen than today. This is a team that, again, if you're 4-4 in the conference, you're a couple games up, but you regard yourself nationally ranked a week or so ago. You regard yourself as one of the top-tier teams. You're going to have to get off to a strong start today and show the Bells why you are that strong team this season.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing that you have to remember as we go into the ball game this afternoon, we've got some MIAA celebrities on this floor, and they're not just wearing the white, purple, and gold this afternoon. Rain Hinton does lead the conference right now with 17.2 points per game. She's also the best field goal percentage shooter in the game this year, 53.8%, and she's number 3 in rebounds. But Paradiso is right there behind her, Jim, in scoring.
Number 2 in the conference at 16.8 points per game. So while it's easy for us as Britons, broadcasters and fans to say, well, you shut down Paradiso, you should have a pretty good shot of beating the team, especially since it's a younger team. I think their coaches and their players have kind of figured out the same thing, that if they do a good job of minimalizing Rain Hinton's impact on the game. You saw what effect it had with the foul trouble in Angola against Trine, and how the team had a tough mountain to climb as a result, and they were unable to do so. So the blueprint is there in both of these squads. The difference, I believe, between the two teams is that Coach Carden has a very deep Britain squad this year. Some of the younger players have really done a tremendous job of making an early and sudden impact. And so because of that depth, if Hinton goes on a little bit of a cold spell from the floor, there are other players like Evelyn Wishmeyer, who's #1 in the conference with 3-point shooting percentage at about 42% a game. Emily Burness is 5th in the conference at about 38%. There's enough depth that they can withstand a Rain Hinton cold spell, whereas I don't know that there's enough depth on the Bell's side to withstand a Paradiso cold spell.
I would have to agree with you there. Coach Wikelski has a bit of a problem when it comes to that point. If she can't get her #1 player to score what she averages this afternoon, and then maybe get a little bit of help from Jade Mosier and also from Bella Douglas, it becomes a real difficult afternoon for the Lady Bells. As the coach comes into this game this afternoon, she was basically on her 2nd year right now. Came in, well, actually almost her 4th year now. Came in as a head coach in 2016 after being an assistant coach for 7 years. Played 4 years at a college that I think a lot of folks will remember. They called it Tri-State back in the day. Nowadays they call it Trine, but she played all 4 years while she was at Tri-State back in the day. So an interesting background for a coach, and an interesting team coming in here this afternoon. As we said, they're scoring 55, but they're giving up 64 in an afternoon. They're allowing teams to shoot around 40% from the floor and about 32% from behind the arc, so they are taking care of business when it comes from distance. And they're +2 on the boards for the season as well. So they're going to get down and scrap and fight and try to pull down that rebound and keep you to that one shot if at all possible. So should be a scrappy game this afternoon, should be a good game this afternoon. Obviously the men are trying this afternoon, so we will be watching that one along with some of the other games on the men's side and the women's side this afternoon in conference. So we're glad to have you here. And if you're out there and would like to let us know how we're doing or where you're watching from, you can see it on the screen right now, webcast@albion.edu.
Yeah, send us an email, let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for. If you're maybe a family member of one of the players, please be sure to let us know that. We'd love to say hi to you on the air. And as always, we greatly appreciate you tuning in to the Britain Sports Network here on Saturday afternoon.
Should be a good ball game. The ladies are finishing up their warm-ups around the men's action this afternoon. They're all 3 o'clock games today. You got Albion at Trine, Olivet is at Adrian, Alma is at Hope, and Kalamazoo is at Calvin. And as we said, we'll keep an eye on that one as the afternoon goes on. We're also looking to see maybe who's going to pop in this afternoon that we can bring up here as a guest at halftime. And before we go any farther, just in case he's out there, I don't see Bobby around here anywhere today, but a big shout out to Bobby and Nikki out there today. Generally, Bobby's up here taking care of us and taking care of business. And I don't see Ian anywhere around as well, but if you're out there watching, Bobby, looking forward to seeing you back here soon. And you and Nikki need to keep us on our toes as you did the other night when you informed us that Rain had gone over her 1,000-point mark. So always good to have Bobby and Nikki out on the other end. With that, the warm-ups are through. We're getting ready for the introductions and the national anthem. You've got the Britain's Sports Network. We're glad to have you out there watching here this afternoon. Jim Funderburg, Jim Bellamy getting ready for some basketball here this afternoon in the MIAA from the Kresge Gymnasium. As you can see, everybody lining up, and with that, we'll send it down to the floor and the PA announcer. And there you have the starting five for both teams. As always, a little more emphasis on the home team, Jimmy. Just kind of the way that it goes around here, you know.
I want to say hi to Pam Larson, watching from Howard City. Pam says, thanks for covering today's game. And also want to say hi to Ken Kirsch, watching on YouTube. So
there you go, man. It's my buddy from Green Bay, Kenny from Green Bay. He's part of the Browns, Lions, Bengals, Packers backers club that we have. And for any of you watching right at this point in time who can't understand that, think of the first three teams and what they all have in common. They don't win many football games. So we've all thrown our support to the Packers, who at least made it to the NFC Championship game, and hence the Browns. Yeah, there you go. I won't go into it any farther. It's time to play basketball. 10 minutes on the scoreboard right now. We're ready to play basketball here at the Kresge. The ladies from St. Mary's are already on the floor. They've got their navy blue and white uniforms on today. And the Lady Brits in their home whites with the purple and gold trim. And basically this is going to be a basketball game, Jimmy. I'm looking forward to this. Dugas would jump up with Rain Hinton as we get things started here in the Britain Sports Network. And Dugas controls. Ball gets tipped in the backcourt to Mosier. She'll give the basketball over to Murphy, and we have a offensive threat going right now from the ladies from St. Mary's.
Hinton won the tip, tried to tip it to her own teammate right there, just tipped it a little too far.
All the way to the rim, strong goes Bella Dugas for the first bucket of the afternoon. As you said, Jimmy, maybe coming off that win the other night. Probably a little bit leftover confidence from a Wednesday night win.
And look at the result the last time they played on this floor.
No doubt. They got to be feeling comfortable as they front hitting on the inside, tip the basketball away, so the first turnover of the afternoon will go to the Brits.
And if you don't have a decided height advantage, that's a tough one right there to get in. So good job getting the hands up by the defender for the Bells.
Good defense by the Brits. Wishmeyer almost steps in and takes that away. Ball gets tipped. It's loose right now. Burness comes up, tries to get it inside, but it gets kicked by Jade Mosier. I'll tell you what, she had a couple of folks just in there. Ellen Welker was one on the other side there of the lane who was just calling for that basketball.
Hinton and Welker both. And the young lady from St. Mary's who mentioned that they have some soccer players who also are playing basketball. I wonder if one of the ones who kicked that was a soccer player.
Wishmeyer lost it. Let's see, it'll be Britain's basketball as Amanda Larsa actually tips it off one of the Bells out of bounds. Brits will keep the ball.
And that's a good job going after that one. You would assume that was going to stay with the Brits, but you know what they say. You can't assume in a play like that.
Ball gets stripped away and out of bounds and will again stay with the Britons. And so far, Rain Hinton finding it a little difficult to play in that low post today.
There's no clear path, and I wouldn't expect there to be one.
Wishmeyer, short shot, no good. And Wish now has missed her first 2 shots of the afternoon. Young lady who's leading the league in three-point percentage maybe needs to move it out behind the arc here to get her rhythm early on, Jim.
And again, it's what are you going to do on offense to make the adjustments?
Paraduso again, also a young lady who's not really gotten a shot as they triple team her, but the ball gets kicked out behind that line, and Mosier's there for the 3-point shot, and all of a sudden it's 5-0 Lady Bells.
And you said exactly what the Britons are going to need to do on offense or defense, and that's take Paradiso out. So who's going to step up and hit the open shots as a result?
Oh, nice job by Wishmeyer to drive, get the double team, and then find Rain Hinton on the single on the low block for the easy bucket.
I think they might have just found something there too with how to get Hinton open. If you're willing to go into the trees and keep your dribble, that's got to be a 10-second call, Jim. There's no way this isn't a 10-second call. Yes, sir.
There you go.
They barely made it past the free throw line right there. That's tremendous full court pressure. But if you're willing to go into the trees and keep your dribble, eventually somebody's going to have to overcommit. And if Hinton is there, then you should be able to find her open for an easier look.
Maybe that was the wake-up call for the Lady Britons here as Wishmeyer cuts, but the ball gets blocked. Nice job by Rizipa.
Got to be a foul. Ooh, and a slam on the floor. Got to be careful. That one's going against Jade Mosier. I'm impressed. Mosier hit the 3, I believe, on the other side too, Jim.
Mosier, the senior from Buchanan, Michigan, gets her first foul. That's the team's first foul as well.
And as a coach, I don't think you're going to be too upset with a foul like the one that was just committed by Mosier. You have a player going to the floor for a 50-50 ball right there. Can't fault that.
Welker has Murphy on her. She drives to the low block, and then they throw across the court to Larson. Lost the handle, got it back to Hinton. Spin, turned, shot off the mark. Hinton tries to get the rebound. It's fought for. We've got 3 young ladies on the floor right now trying to get it. We'll call a jump ball situation, and the arrow will keep the ball with the home team.
First tie ball of the game right there. And again, the Bells won the opening tip. So the Britons keep possession, but with 7:29 to play here in quarter number 1. Bells are up 5-2.
11 to shoot on the Brits when they inbounds. Comes back here deep. Burness drives, puts it up, and gets that friendly Kresge roll as she finds the floor here at the Kresge.
Looking for an and one there too.
5-4, wild pass, goes to Burness.
There you go.
Down to Hinton.
Yes, yes.
Left hand off the glass, and it's 6-5, and the Britons on a 6-0 run.
The other thing that is going to help the Britons reverse their fortunes to avoid that slow start, that was an excellent, excellent call there by Coach Carden to dial up some full court pressure, and you saw the 10-second count, the turnover, and the turnover that immediately led to the Hinton layup right there, paying dividends. But, it's something that, the Bells call that timeout. Now Coach is going to get in their ladies' ears a little bit. And how do you break that pressure? How do you avoid having that happen? And if you're Coach Carden, you can't dial up full court pressure all the time, every possession, because you're going to tire your ladies out too. So it works in bursts, but then you have to dial it back a little bit to avoid expending all the energy on your team.
Starting lineup stay on the floor: Welker, Larson, Wishmeyer, Hinton, and Burness for the Britons. Murphy, Paradiso, Mosier, Dugas, and Razupka for the Bells. And they'll break the pressure this time. Swing it down the left side for Paradiso. Her first shot of the afternoon is a little bit wide, and Hinton's right there to pull it down.
Looking to run. They don't have numbers, though. 2 players get back for the Bells.
Burness on the spin. Kicks it out to Wishmeyer for 3, and immediately has a bell in her face.
And Wishmeyer's, as we said, number 1 3-point shooter in the conference, so you can't leave her open.
Larson with a show and go down the lane. Right-hander, a little bit short, off of, I believe, Hinton's hands and out of bounds.
Yep. Hinton was in position to crash the boards right there, but good job by the Bells to also get in position, force Hinton to have it trickle off her fingertips out of bounds.
Rzepka inbounds and gets the basketball back. They'll try to break this pressure, and they do.
That's a push. Oh. You saw that left arm go out, Jim. Extended and pushed, but they get the block instead.
Block will go against the Britons, and it will be the first foul of the afternoon for Elena Welker, and also the second foul against the Brits.
Lathers checks in for Jade Mosier. Mosier going to get a lot of credit on the bench right there. Played a fantastic few minutes on the floor. Hit a three, very scrappy on the defensive side as well.
3.5 minutes into this one, it's a 6-5 game. Welker with some good hands there, trying to sneak that ball up away from the Bells. Again, three-point shot no good. Burness there to pull down the rebound. Wishmeyer, will she pull it up? No, she's going to go. Down the lane she goes. And they're going to say she stepped out of bounds right there along the O, I believe. No, they're going to get a push.
You're going to get that on Rzepka. That'll be foul number 1 on Rzepka. Been a pretty clean game so far at the 6:10 mark of the first quarter. 2 team fouls for the Bells, 1 for the Brits.
So the Brits the inbounds. And they're going to run out of time if they don't get it in. Wishmeyer.
That was a generous 5 count right there.
It really was. Went back to Welker, back out to Wish. They go to Hinton, who's triple teamed underneath. And if she could have just seen what was going on and bounced it over to Larson, she had the opportunity. Instead, she's in the lane too long, and the ball will get turned back over to the Lady Bells. Both teams playing some pretty good defense this afternoon early, Jim.
Yep, they both figured out who the top scorer is to commit to on defense, and both teams done a good job defensively to minimize their impact.
Ball goes into the corner for a 2-point shot, no good. Lather pulls down the rebound for the Bells. A whistle on the floor.
Ball will go out of bounds off the foot of Olivia Lathers, and then it'll go back to the Brits. Points have been at a premium so far, Jim. The Bells have not scored for a while, yet they're only down 1.
We'll take a look at that on the play-by-play, because it was in the first minute of the game that they got all 5 of their points. So they've been scoreless now for the better part of 4 minutes, as Burness looked like took an extra step to get open, but no call. Shot no good. Welker comes down with the ball.
I like how the Bells are collapsing under the bucket, though, on defense. That's off.
Burness a little too short. Ball gets out of bounds before the Bells can get a handle on it.
But because it hits the rim and then goes out, they reset the shot clock to 20. So 5:17 to play, first quarter. We're still stuck at 6-5 Brits.
Rzepka tried to save that one, but just ran out of territory right in front of the student body here in the Kresge. Double team again for Hinton, and that's going to be a walk. Moved to her right, ran into difficulties, went back to her left, forgot to put the ball on the floor, and the shuffle pulls the whistle.
Rebecca Ross checks in.
The Britons will make a substitution. And again, as you said, Jim, that territory around the rim so far here early has been hard to come by if you're the offensive team. Either way, Lather tries to break the double team, and she'll pick up the foul. Which were they going to see if they'll call that on Larson for the block, or will they call who they're going to call that block on?
That one on Ross, Jim.
There you go.
Tried to step through a double team right there, and if they'd been set, probably would have been an offensive foul. But again, neither player on defense was set, so a good step through and draw the contact.
Neither team shooting all that well. Brits are shooting 27% from the floor. St. Mary's only taken 5 shots this afternoon, Jim. They are hitting 40% at 2 for 5. But as you said, too, it's been a while since they've scored.
Yeah, first minute and nothing since. And yet they only trail by 1.
8 seconds to shoot here in the Kresge.
Nice help
Welker
defense.
With a good reach in and takeaway. The
Take
Britons
it all
on the run and in. Elena Welker from Dearborn Heights.
Coast to coast. That's an out of bounds right there. Full court pressure. Still using it. Still effective. But again, you look at the toll that it takes. But I think Coach Carden would probably argue, number 1, these are young athletes in great condition. And number 2, this is why we have them go through the running exercises that we do during the season, so they can play at this level for as long as they need to.
Oh, to be 20 years old again. Wishmeyer for three.
That's a big basket right there, Jim.
That's where Wish needs to be.
Deflection, turnover.
Hinton saves it over to Larson.
Hit another three here. Really blow the roof off this joint. Oh, she wanted it.
She
Good
did.
Step out defense.
Wish cuts to the basket.
Take an
Hinton
and
sees
one.
she's only got one person in front of her, so she goes strong.
Bella Dugas with the foul right there. Send Hinton to the line for a pair.
You see the replay right now on the screen, the turnover by the Brits.
The tip, the save, transition opportunity. And Hinton ends up on that exchange right there, being the player who goes to the charity stripe. So you make the save, good things happen on the other end.
Tiffany Burgess checks in for the Britons along with as I got to get quiet for the rest of the crowd right now.
67% free throw shooter on the season. Again, the #1 scorer in the MIAA.
As loud as what we are, as quiet as what this gym gets, we get looks every now and then. Hinton hits both of them.
You and I always joke that it's like the 18th at Augusta.
5 in the afternoon for Rain now. She leads all scorers.
Paradiso gets fouled going up strong.
Got to believe this young lady's going to try to take a little more responsibility on her shoulders before the end of this quarter. She's been shut out here early.
Well, it's been one of the rare occasions that she was open.
Yeah.
They've always done a good job of putting at least one, if not two players on her. And that's the thing. If you send her back as your fifth on a full court pressure defense, then if you can break it, she's the one who's open and she's your best scorer.
I'll tell you what, that doesn't happen all that often. Paradiso, an 85% shooter from the free throw line with her first opportunity.
And that's kind of the byproduct of being out of the action for a while, is that first free throw is, well, I haven't had many shot opportunities. So I get warm-ups, but I'm kind of cold right now.
You see 44 on the floor right now for the Bells. That's Shadid. Ball gets tipped along the baseline. Comes back out front to J.C. King.
Nice weave up top. Open three.
Almost that hometown bounce. The battle for the ball by Tiffany Burgess gets it back. This one will go down. Yes, ma'am.
Wide open look.
Rebecca Ross from Gaylord.
That's a steal. Almost.
Lather with a triple team, kicks it to the corner.
Two players are going to step out on Paradiso. She breaks them with the dribble. Man, that's a good move.
Now you understand why she has 1,000 points already. Right around 3 white shirts and an easy lay-in.
It's not just about putting a body in the vicinity. You're going to have to get up close and personal, and you're going to have to stay with the hips right there, not allow her to move past.
Burness kicks it to the corner. Can we get a second? Up a little bit short. Burness got the rebound. Couldn't put it in. Lather there with the next rebound.
Almost an over the back right there on that rebound, too.
Murphy brings it to the front court. She's played the entire first quarter. Burness takes the ball away, says thank you very much. Hinton on the run, wants to get rewarded. Triple team, had to kick it back out front.
Hinton got hacked right there, too, before she even went up.
Burness around the low post lather and misses
that was
the
a
one-footer.
bunny right there, Jim.
I'm sure Emily would like to have that one back. Well, I'll tell you, the rims have just kind of been sealed off for both teams here as she did missed it on that end.
Take it strong.
Hinton.
You can't do much more if you're Paradiso on defense there either.
Nope.
She stayed with her, stayed square, hands straight up. Hinton just had the angle and got the kiss off the glass.
If you go up, you're going to give her an and one. So a very smart young junior there from St. Mary's.
Nice ball fake.
Gave Rain the 2.
Ooh, traveled. Yep. Had the right move right there with the ball fake, but problem is once she picked up her dribble and looked to kick it back out, slid that pivot foot, and the official keeping an eye on that action calls the turnover. And Jim, it was 6-5 for the longest time, and now you look up at the scoreboard and it's 18-8. It just doesn't seem like that happened, but that shows the pressure of the full court, or the result of the full court pressure, and the Britons starting to knock some shots down, especially those threes.
Rizippa and Dugas check in for the Bells on that last exchange as Wishmeyer drains her three-point shot from right straight on.
Just like that, 21-8.
You're going to give her that one all afternoon. She's going to increase her percentage on the year.
Yeah, and again, this is the conference's #1 three-point shooter.
Jump shot from the left wing's a little bit too strong by Dugas, who checked in also on that last whistle.
And Jim, you mentioned something about Paradiso wanting to do a little bit more for the team and make an impact. That's a case where she's doing everything she can for the team, but it ends up costing them going in for the bump with the rebound opportunity.
Minute to play here in quarter number one. Brits on top 21-8 over the Bells this afternoon as the Bells take a timeout and want to chat.
Jim, Britain-bound days give admitted students the opportunity to sit in on a class, learn about Albion's learning opportunities, experience life on campus, and see popular areas of campus. Britain-bound days are set for February 17, March 20, and April 17. Direct questions to the Office of Admission, 517-629-0718, or visit albion.edu/admission.
We are halfway home in the first half there down at Trine, and the Thunder on top of the Britain 16-12 with 10.5 to play at this point. Britain shooting 31%, 5 for 16. Trine 43.9%, 7 for 16. Britain's 1 for 9 for distance, 2 for 5 for the Trine men. So again, we'll keep an eye on that one. 18-12 right now. Trine on top, right around the halfway point of the first half of basketball down there. Here, it's the Lady Brits, 21-8 with a minute to go here in quarter number one.
And for the folks just tuning in, for the longest time in this first quarter, we were stuck at 6-5. Bells got off to a 5-2 lead early, and then the Britons dialed up full court pressure, and this game has not been the same since.
Ross kicks it back out front to King. Back down in the corner to Ross, who drives hard.
Nice move.
Got it. That was one where you really couldn't block it because the body was ahead of the ball. That ball kind of ended up about a step behind and bounced off softly off the glass, off the iron and in.
Nice three. Nice answer.
3-point shot there goes down for Shadid.
Freshman out of Norman, Oklahoma. Shot clock turned off for this last possession. We're under 20 seconds to play in quarter number one. 23-11, Britain's lead.
Britain's going to play this one for that last shot, obviously. 13 seconds and counting.
As long as the defense allows it, they're stepping out.
Wishmeyer likes where she was, left it a little short, and it hits the B on the Briton before any Britons could get to it. So the turnover gives the ball back to the Bells with 4.5 to play here in the quarter.
Nicole Sweetland checks in on the dead ball. I think just for defensive pressure right here, not give them a clean drive to the basket.
Paradiso lost the handle, out of bounds. Ball goes back to the Brits with just 1/10 of a second.
And that's why sometimes you see them rolling the ball in from a dead ball, and they get almost to midcourt before they touch it. And that's a great job by Coach right there to put a player in, just put a body on when they get it inbounds, force that time to run off.
Quarter in the books, Brits on top 23-11 here on the Britain Sports Network on a Saturday afternoon. Good to have you out there watching. Again, if you'd like to talk to us today, you can do that. Albion webcast at albion.edu. Already had a couple folks check in. If you're out watching, let us know where you're at, what you're doing. Is it a little warmer where you are than where we are, or maybe a little colder in Kenny's spot? He's up in Green Bay. I bet it's a little chillier in Green Bay today than it is in Albion. But
if Mr. Ritter's watching from Florida, again, if Dick Ritter's watching, then we'd love to hear from Mr. Ritter and see what the weather's like down there in Florida. But, again, we have Britons all around the country and all around the world. So if you're watching, please send us a message at webcast@albion.edu. We'll be sure to say hello to you on the air.
Game pretty even percentage-wise. St. Mary's shooting 44% in that first quarter to the Brits 41%. Brits are 9 of 22, though, so they've got 22 shots off here in that first quarter. St. Mary's with only 9 attempts here in that quarter, Jim, and that becomes a bit of a problem right there. St. Mary's 2 of 3 from behind the arc. The Brits are 3 of 7. Free throws, the Brits are 2 for 2 from the charity line. St. Mary's 1 for 2. Individual stats right now, Paradiso, Mosier, and Shadid. I'm going to get that out here eventually, all with 3 points here this afternoon. Hinton with 8 for the Britons, Wishmeyer with 6, Rebecca Ross with 5. Those are the 3 top scorers for the Brits this afternoon.
Nice look, but a nice defensive adjustment right There.
Kick goes out to Wishmeyer. She's got Rizepa on her. Into Wish in the paint. Nice little floater, makes it 25 for the Brits.
They wanted that play to go to Rain Hinton because you passed up 2 open shots to get Rain the ball. So it shows you how imperative it is for her to get off to a good start.
Devin Buda, number 24, in for the Bells as Paradiso knocks down the shot from the left wing.
Adjustment by the Bells right there, Jim. Instead of Paradiso being in the paint, she steps out about 8 feet. The ball handler goes into the congestion and leaves her open.
Paradiso now with 5 on the afternoon. Wishmeyer works right down underneath and decides to put it up, and it gently falls through.
And this is the soft rims you talked about. It's why it was so uncanny that there was difficulty shooting. Ooh, she double dribbled. Yeah. Went to grab both hands and throw a bullet pass under the basket. Unfortunately, decided to keep the dribble. So, but again, you know, you and I talk a lot about how we've never really seen softer rims any place that we've covered. So this is a very forgiving place. And for those shots to rattle out, doesn't happen very often.
It's either softer rims or they're just shooting it a little softer. I'm not really exactly sure what, but Bella Dugas knocks down a 2 from the corner.
Yeah, probably just shooting it softer because I think the rims are always made of the same material.
Well, you never can tell. You know, that might be some of that that soft Michigan iron here, you know, as the turnover gives the Lady Bells an opportunity to cut into this 12-point lead. Back out front. Dugas.
Lost the handle.
Yep.
Good strip.
Larson was the one that took it away. Pass ahead to Hinton for the easy lay-in, and again, Paradiso staying away. She does have 1 personal foul right now, and she does need to stay out of foul trouble as the afternoon goes on, and she has very intelligently stayed away from what could be a couple of real easy ticky-tack fouls.
She's just keeping the dribble right there. Open look.
3-point shot is a little bit off the mark for Shea Did.
26-19 on the men's side. Try and lead the Britons with 7:08 to play in the first half.
As we said, that's a tough place to play down there. Wish should get the foul. Wasn't sure they were going to say she took an extra little bounce down there on inside when they blew that whistle, but instead the foul will go against number 40, Rizepa.
And Jim, we got an email from a gentleman who you and I know pretty well.
Yeah?
And that is Maury Ditzler.
I'll be darned.
It says enjoying the fine broadcast while attending the NCAA convention in Anaheim, California.
Well, there you go. There's a gentleman who's sitting out there in a little nicer weather than we are right now.
Fantastic, yeah.
Wishmeyer hits the first one.
Always enjoyed the opportunity to speak with Maury Ditzler at half times of games, before games, after games, things like that. We saw him quite frequently at the Sprankle-Sprandel Stadium.
Wish hits both of them. Here's a stat that'll jump at you right now, Jimmy. 11 turnovers already for the Lady Bells compared to 5 for the Britons. These are 2 teams, both of them, that will turn the ball over. Close it in on 20 a game.
Nice block. And again, I wonder how many of those turnovers happened as a direct result of the full court pressure.
Dugas thought she had a little room, and then it ran out of gas there at the rim as the Brits had 2 defenders waiting on her. 31-15. Brits have doubled up the Bells here.
Good poke out by Shadid. Good screen. Got a moving screen, though. Yep. That'll go against Larson.
So the turnover gives the ball back to the Bells. 7:10 to play in the first half.
It's a good idea by Larson, that high screen there by the top of the key, but move those feet. That's a near turnover. They are not taking good care of the ball, Jim.
Following up on that point, Jim, 11 turnovers and 14 points off of turnovers for the Britons this afternoon. So when you turn the ball over, generally bad things happen. Brits with 14 total rebounds so far compared to 6 for the Lady Bells. Taking care of the basketball a little bit better and controlling that backboard a little bit better as well. Wishmeyer works around the hit and screen, but this one will be a little bit far left. And the rebound comes off to the Bells. Battle for the ball, and a reach-in foul will go against the Britons, and that'll be Nicole Sweetland. Lather tending to a knee right now. She's actually going to go down on the floor.
That's not a good sign.
And there'll be a replacement here. Hannah Kavanaugh will come out.
That's not a good sign, Jim.
Well, in fact, it's Devin Buda, 24, actually, that's down on the floor right now.
Yeah, she's not able to put any weight on it. She tried to get up, bless her heart, but looks like that left knee kind of is not cooperating right now. Do not like to see that.
So we do have a little time out on the floor right now, and hopefully there she goes back up. And it does look like at least she's able to put some weight on it, although she does look like she's in some pretty good pain. Mm-hmm. And the closer she gets to the sideline, the less that knee is holding up. And as you see her going to the
locker room, yeah. Do not like to see that. You always want the best possible game, and that's all players healthy, the best against the best.
Devin Buda from Lansing, she's just a freshman, so plenty of time ahead of her to play at the Kresge every year for the next 3 years past this one.
And a freshman so young, usually the recuperative powers are pretty strong.
Mosier past Burness for the lay-in. Mosier now with 5 on the afternoon, halfway to her season average of 10.
Ooh, tough place to pick up the dribble right there. Fortunate Burness was there.
Comes up on Mosier, gives it to Wishmeyer. Drives, cut off, kick to the corner, three-point shot. Nothing records for Rebecca Ross.
Second or third triple, and she's just been in a good spot.
Long pass to Bella Dugas. She was able to maintain it. Swings around the left side, no good by Mosier for 3. Wishmeyer pulls down the rebound, and the Britons have the basketball again.
Yeah, Hinton and, whoa, nice job selling out for the ball. And
that's
I'm
Mosier again, Jade Mosier.
Jim.
Yeah. Well, for Jade Mosier on this season, 30 has 10 points a game. Shoots 37% from the field. She is a senior, one of the few seniors on the floor for either team here today.
Yeah, you want 5 players on the floor at all times who are that willing to sacrifice for the loose balls. Just love to see that as a coach.
Ross said, Wish get over here, Wish to Burness. Hinton from straight on, just inside that 3-point circle. And this could be an afternoon, Jim, where we get some new faces on the floor come quarter number 3.
Foul against Jade Mosier, crashing the boards. So that's a 2 that was almost a 3. And then you get an opportunity now for a 4 or 5-point play, because the ball goes back to the Brits under the basket with 5:30 to play.
Hinton has a dozen right now. Wishmeyer with 10, Rebecca Ross with 8 for the Britons. On the other side of the ledger there, Paradiso with only 5 points, along with Mosier also with 5. But Paradiso being held pretty much at bay here in this first half, Jim.
So again, the Britons get the ball out of bounds after the make as a result of the turnover. Good defense at Mahan.
Dugas, you know what? I said that when I came up here, because I went down as the Lady Bells were warming up, and the ball came bouncing my way, and I had to toss it back to young Miss Dugas. And I said, Bella Dugas looks like a basketball player.
Yep. Yep. Quick hands right there.
Yep.
Good spring in the step. And that's what the Bells had to have. You can't afford to have a 2-possession swing like that when the score is what it is.
Dugas with the show, then bounces it back outside to Rzepka.
Nobody's open.
Dugas down in the corner again as the Brits go to somewhat of a semi-zone look here.
A 2-3 look. A lot of speed getting out.
Long three-pointer is wide, and right there to pull it down is Rebecca Ross.
And slow it down a little bit.
Ross is a freshman out of Gaylord, Michigan, who just keeps earning more minutes every Wednesday or
that's
Saturday.
An offensive foul.
Yep.
Yeah. She used that left arm to clear out right there. A little bit of frustration. You watch this left arm right here. Boom.
Oops.
I'll tell you what, Ross is really impressing me, Jim. Not just knocking down the threes, but the command she has when she brings the ball up the floor. They throw pressure in her face. She doesn't dribble to the sides. She always seems to divert back towards the center. And that's, you can coach that, you can teach that, but that's an innate thing.
Ross went down. J.C. King from Kingsley, Michigan, another freshman, comes in on the floor here for the Brits as she puts a little pressure on that three-point shooter, but nice.
Goodness gracious.
Kavanaugh knocks it down.
I don't think there's any foul there. I think that's a little talking to with both players. but that's the second time she's been involved in one of those dust-ups and those rebounds. And
there you go. You see how what happened there. Basically, both young ladies.
It was her and Burness, was it?
Yeah, kind of laying on one another, waiting for that ball to come down and
get the arms tangled up and the bodies follow.
Yeah, and then Mosier took a step away. Burness was kind of laying on her back a little bit too far. Ran out of something to lay on there and fell to the floor as the turnover would give the Bells the ball back on the other end.
Burness goes after the loose ball and flies into guess who?
Yeah.
So even on the bench, Jade Moser unfortunately is getting contact right there when she's supposed to be resting.
It's a magnetic type thing. I think it's the two of them, man. They're attracted somehow. Ball gets moved down to the corner to Murphy. Back out front, now it comes to Kavanaugh.
Nice kick.
Three-point shot won't go down for Razupka.
That's a foul going the other way. You get Bella Dugas on the foul right there, I believe.
So Rezepa misses that one. Rezepa is a 24% shooter from behind the arc.
Hinton checks back in. Burgess takes his seat. 34-20 your score with 4 minutes even to play. On the men's side, Trine leads 38-29 with 1:10 to play in the first half.
Well, another one of those first halves for the men. Are they going to be able to pull things off? Nice job by Paradiso to knock that ball loose.
They wanted to run right there, but set shot. I don't see that very often. Timeout.
Tell you what, man, I'll tell you, Nikki Murphy just had both those feet underneath of her and let it go. You kind of wonder with the men right now, they have had a habit this year of starting slow, having a tough first half, but boy, you don't want to have a slow first half against Trine at Trine, I don't think.
Nope. And again, this is the men's and women's conferences both in the MIAA. These are fantastic teams, and you can't afford to get into late January into February when you've seen these teams once in all likelihood already. You can't have 7, 8, 10, 15-minute stretch where you don't do a whole lot, because they've figured it out at this point that if you're going to go down 8, 10 points or whatever, you may not have an opportunity to get yourself back in the game.
The men from Trine will be here, and we'll do the ball game on the 19th day of February. How's that? The last Wednesday night of the regular season.
Nice move.
Nice job by Larson. Just kind of easily worked her way to the rim. Wish set her up right around the screen. It was an easy two.
Good drive. Lost the handle. That's an over and back. Yeah.
Kavanaugh lasted. Murphy picked it up.
I want to say hi to a couple folks. Jim Carden watching from Clinton Township says enjoying the broadcast, doing a great job of describing the action. And he also says, Ken, that he likes the camera work and the replays. So credit where credit is due. Normally you and I don't give a whole lot of credit to Mr. Reeker over there, he deserves it.
When you got to wake him up most of the time as the afternoon goes on, because he's over there snoring, and we got Jade on the camera today. You bet, man.
And also want to say hi. Ken Kirsch wrote back and said, Jim, it's 35 and cloudy, and we got maybe 3 inches of snow last night.
There you go. A little snow in Green Bay.
It happens, from what I hear.
Every now and then. Wouldn't be the first time they got snow in Green Bay, I don't believe.
No, and it won't be the last this winter in all likelihood.
Olivia Lathers waiting to check in at the scorer's table here once we get everything figured out. Coach down talking to the official right now. Doreen Carden down getting a clarification on something. I'm not really sure exactly what, but
fairly lengthy conversation too.
So Dugas will check over to the bench. Lather.
I just want to inbound the ball.
Comes in. Olivia Lathers from Grass Lake, Michigan, 5'7" senior. Again, there's only, when you look at that roster, only 3 seniors on the Bells roster here this afternoon. When you go down and look at the Brits roster, Wish and Burness, both seniors for this ball club. So they would really like to have a good senior year, and they are off to a very, very good start.
Almost had the turnover there. Burness did a good job of not reaching in too long, though, to get the foul.
Kavanaugh from deep, no good. Wishmeyer there to pull down the rebound.
That would have been a big 3 right there, Jim. 16 and 13 may not seem like much of a difference, but 13 with momentum is huge.
Especially if this one goes in, but it doesn't. Larson fights for that basketball, and she earned the shot. Didn't get it, but got her own rebound, and the putback is good.
That earned is the right word right there, my friend.
The sophomore from Howard City, man.
You always love to see effort like that paying off with results. And a couple of rebounds and a 2-point basket right there to extend the lead, 40-22.
Lathers tries to bounce that pass in. Wishmeyer says no way.
She had a helpful shove by a teammate to get her back in position on defense. Thanks.
Paradiso drew the double team, so she'll back off and shoot that long 2-point shot. No good. Amanda Larson pulls down the ball, and she'll bring it into the front court.
And you had somebody trying to fight Amanda Larson for a rebound. Good luck.
Hinton with the fall away for an easy bucket. Rain Hinton now with 16 on the afternoon.
At some point, Paradiso, who's guarding her most of the time on the defensive side for the Bells, I know she don't want to pick up a second foul or anything like that, but at some point you're going to need to get in there and maybe make a little more contact.
Burness says, look what I found, brings it all the way down, feeds it over to Wishmeyer, and Wishmeyer gets hammered.
See if they get that one on Kavanaugh. Nope. Get it on Lathers.
Down to a minute and a half to play in this first half of basketball as Tiffany Burgess come back on the floor for the Britons.
Looks like Koppel checked in, and maybe Delaney Rollman, the senior for the Bells.
Wishmeyer perfect from the free throw line this afternoon. 3 for 3 now. 2 for 4 from distance here today. 3 for 8 overall from the floor.
You and I always chuckle about how quiet not only everything gets, but that we seem to have to get.
We have to become quiet too because we're loud. How's that? Nicole Sweetland will check in for Wishmeyer there after the 2 free throws go down.
And Amanda Larson, again, we talked about how strong she has been in the rebounding game for the Britons. Goes airborne right there, and unfortunately, like you and I have said many times, when it's person versus floor, floor wins that battle. And she took a hard tumble, but was able to smile about it going back down the floor. Larson
has 7 rebounds in the afternoon already. Paradiso fighting through a double team. Nice bucket. That's
do everything
7
you
now.
can to stop her, but she is very patient with the ball and is willing to keep the dribble going, and good things usually happen when you do that.
Giovanna really, as
Watch
we
out.
said,
I'm sure she heard me.
She did, man. She looked over here.
Offensive foul.
Call it on number 4, Burgess, Tiffany Burgess.
Jim, Will Edwards watching from sunny Orlando, Florida. Friends with one of the girls on the St. Mary's team. And says, great casting and love the camera work. Thank you so much. And also Ian Lee writes in, Jim.
Here's our buddy Ian. Where's Ian at today?
Says that great job as always. The family is loving it. And he says, say hello to the St. Mary's SID for us.
We will do that. Jump shot's a little bit wide by Delaney Rollman. Britton's looking to put a little more distance between them.
Kick it out.
Burgess from the right side, no good. Rebound again by the Britons, and I'll tell you what.
Dominating the glass.
Emily Burness. Right back up and in. The Brits now 22 up, 46-24 with 18 seconds left.
Halftime of the men's game, Trine leads Albion 38-31. We'll get you some statistics on that. It's like the leading scorer for the Brits on the men's side as Garland and James L. Davis with 9 points apiece. Kate Nebling has 6. Paula with 3 and Perry and Armstrong with 2 apiece for the men. And Langston Johnson leads all scorers with 10 points. Brent Cox has 7 for the Thunder.
Sophie Keppel at the free throw line misses the first one but splits the pair. Keppel averages 4 points a game. That's her first of the afternoon.
Shot clock off, under 15 seconds to play. Brits look like they'll hold for one, up 21 at this point. High screen. Stepped around it. Nice shot.
Oh, Oh, that was pretty. You know what? I'll tell you what. When Wishmeyer has it going, that ball just seems to float in the air and catch nothing but cords and floor. It is really a whole lot of fun. Buzzer goes off. The Britons on top by 23, 48-25 here at halftime on the Britain Sports Network. We'll step away for a couple of minutes. When we come back, we'll get you some stats for the ladies and the men's, and we'll get you ready for the second half of basketball here from the Kresge Center on Albion College.
Life's greatest achievements are born of its greatest challenges. Those times that call us to unite and work toward needed solutions. At Albion College, our strength lies in our tireless passion to do just that. Making connections that make an impact. Connections between driven students and devoted educators. Between a visionary small school and a welcoming small city. And between bold dreams and the will to shape a better future. Yes, we believe colleges have an obligation to pursue a higher purpose, to serve the community and the world. And because the spread of knowledge benefits us all, this is a campus committed to embracing diverse beliefs and backgrounds, not to emphasize differences, but to prosper from important perspectives. Perspectives that can overcome uncertainty, indifference, and the impossible. By connecting open minds and tenacious spirits from all walks of life, ours is a culture that believes no challenge is too great to conquer. We are purple and bold. We are Albion College.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, the commitment, the drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent, like me.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Center on the campus at Albion College, and Jim Funderburg, Jim Bellamy this afternoon as we take a look at the first half stats from the ladies game today. Jim, 48-25, Brits up by 23.
You wanted a good start? Well, early in the first quarter, it did not look like either team was going to do a whole lot. The game was stuck at 5-2 and then 6-5 for a while. But then the dividends from the full court pressure for the Britons started to pay off. first quarter, scoring 23-11. Albion 25-14 in the second quarter to give you your 48-25 score at the half. And you can see the statistics on the board, and we appreciate Ken putting those up. Britain shooting a very respectable 50% from the floor, 18 of 36 compared to 10 of 25, so 11 fewer shots for the Bells, and a lot of that is because of turnovers, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. 3-point field goals, pretty much even, 3 of 9 for the Bells, 4 of 10 for the Brits. Free throws, not much of a difference, even though you look at 6 of 6 compared to 1 of 2, but a lot of the physical activity for the Bells, Jim, has been kind of on the defensive side, and that's scrapping after the loose balls and the rebounds. Both teams have had the turnover bug today. The Britons have turned it over 11 times, 13 turnovers for the Bells. It's what you've done with those turnovers that has made a difference so far. You can see the Brits have 16 points off turnovers compared to 7 points off turnovers for the Bells. Rebounding has also been the other stat that has been total domination, I think, is why the score is the way it is. 25 rebounds for the Brits, 12 of which come on the offensive side, so second chance point opportunities. Only 8 total rebounds, Jim, for the Bells, and 6 of those came on the defensive side, so virtually no offensive rebounding. And if you only have 25 field goal attempts and no second chance point opportunities, it's tough to score.
Yeah, no, it is.
I mean, just to be totally simplistic about it, points in the paint is really the other determining factor besides points off turnovers. You can see it near the very bottom of your screen right there. 26-8 is your advantage for the Britons. That's plus 18, and your halftime margin is plus 22. So there you go. You're looking for what the difference was in the first half. It's turnovers and points off turnovers, and then also points in the paint.
Jimmy,
I'm sorry, go ahead,
I'm
Jim.
sorry, go ahead, man.
I was just going to give the individual scoring first. For the visiting Bells from St. Mary's, Indiana, Giovanna Paradiso leads the team with 7 points. She's had a rough first half, though. Only 5 field goal attempts, 2 rebounds and 2 assists to go along with those 7 points. 5 points for Jade Mosier, who I've really been impressed with in that first half, Jim. 4 points for Bella Dugas, 3 points apiece for Hannah Kavanaugh and Christina Shadid, and then 2 points for Nikki Murphy. For the Brits, led in scoring by Rain Hinton with 16 points, 7 of 9 from the floor and 3 rebounds. 12 points for Evelyn Wishmeyer, and she's hit all 4 of her free throw attempts and 2 from distance. Rebecca Ross has 8 points, 2 of 3 from deep. 4 points apiece for Amanda Larson and Emily Burness, and Elena Welker has 2 points as well. So 8 rebounds also for Amanda Larson. 2 came on 1 possession that she scored on. She has been a force on the offensive glass for the Britons.
When you switch venues here real quick, Jimmy, but the men are down in Trine. You already gave the halftime score 38-31 with the men trailing by 7 right now. You also hit the highlights as far as the individual stats. But you touched on with the women's game points off for turnovers here today. And the Britons have given up 11 points off for turnovers this afternoon to the Trine Thunder. But the amazing thing, Jim, is when you take a look at the number of turnovers, Brits only turned the ball over 4 times in the first half. Trine only turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. Off those 4 turnovers, though, Trine with 11 points this afternoon and a 7-point lead. And that, again, goes back to your point with the women's game here this afternoon, how that will help. When you go taking a look at all of the different stats on this men's contest, 21 rebounds for the Brits, 22 rebounds for the Brits, 21 rebounds for the Trine Thunder. When you look at assists, 7 for the Britons, 9 for the Thunder here this afternoon. And gee, but at Christmas, it's an interesting half, and they've already started here. We just got a quick update, and Trine off to a 5-0 run to start things real quick. And it's 43-33 now, the men of Trine on top of the men from Albion. And you're going to take a look at something there where the men came out maybe sleepwalking a little bit. And you got to believe Coach Miller down at Trine said, guys, these guys are known for having a slow first half and then putting it together at the halftime and coming out and jumping on you early. Let's just do the opposite today and not allow them to get off to a fast start. And they have done that exact thing here to open up that second half. as they now have outscored the Britons 5-2. As you take a look at the numbers that we were talking about, second chance points really about the same. Points in the paint, the Brits up by 10 there, 18-8. Fast break points, the Brits up by 3 over top of that. But again, when you look at the top line there, Jimmy, there's some difference up there.
Yeah, you look at, Jim, it's the three-point baskets that have made the big difference in this game so far. Trying, as you can see on the screen, 8 of 14 from three-point distance. That's 57%. You'll take that all day long if you can get it. The Brits only 2 of 15, so that's 6 more threes. That's plus 18 on the points. And it's 43-35 right now, so a little run by the Brits to cut into that. But again, the three-point shooting, you talked about the number of turnovers has been low, but the points off turnovers has been high. If you're getting a field goal on all 4 of those turnovers, that's 3 threes and a 2. So there you go. You're getting the turnover, you're hitting the deep shot, and that's kind of a double shot in the arm for the confidence of the Trine Thunder and getting their crowd into that game. Sometimes these Saturday afternoon games can be kind of tough for atmosphere, but I get the feeling that with those turnovers and those threes, the gym over in Angola was pretty loud.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Nice facility down there, and a big facility. I'm sure it is packed out today for the Britain Trine game at Angola here this afternoon. Around the conference for men this afternoon at halftime, Olivet leads Adrian 46-41. Alma on top of Hope at halftime 44-41. And then the other game that is being played today, Calvin and Kalamazoo. Calvin on top of Kalamazoo at the start of the second half, 48-38. We'll have to do some checking here on the ladies' side to get you some more scores from them as we go. As we'll bounce over here and see if we can pick that up here real quick for you. The important one right now, 48-25 for the men, or for the ladies here this afternoon. For the ladies on the other side, there you go. We've got that Trine game.
Yeah.
As you're able to look in and see what's going on down there at Trine right now. On the women's side at halftime, Hope leads Olivet 37-15. The Britons obviously on top here, 48-25. Trine leads Kalamazoo at Kalamazoo 33-17. Just started the third quarter in that ball game. And then the Adrian Alma game tonight is a 7 o'clock basketball game. And that wraps up the schedule for the women today, as you do take a look at the Trine Albion game here as we get you a quick little look in as the Britons are starting to make a little run here, Jim.
45-39 your score there after a couple of made free throws. And again, the fast start in the second half by the Thunder has been erased by a nice run by Coach May's squad. Lead is 6 with 17 to play. Jump shot no good. Brits take control, look to cut into that lead even farther.
Britons really would take a step ahead in this conference right now as James L knocks down the triple.
It's a one-possession game, 45-42. You talked about how the Britons are a second-half team on the men's side, and so if they continue at the pace they're at right now, Trine going to be on the ropes because this is a strong second-half squad as we get a turnover.
You know what? If you can sneak one out here this afternoon, we get a foul. Yes, we do.
Feels like we're there now.
It does feel like we're there right now, doesn't it, huh?
Good step through and an opportunity for, I believe that's in the act of shooting foul. And it does look like it is going to send the Brits to the line for a pair. So just like that, Jim, double-digit lead becomes now a 3-point lead and a chance to cut that down to 1.
First one goes down for Garland, but we have a timeout call before he shot it, it looks like maybe.
Yeah, and it was right before because he was already in the act of shooting right there. So
we'll bring it back here and we'll keep an eye on what's going on down in Angola here this afternoon, because I'll tell you what, if the Brits could sneak one out this afternoon, that Kenny Reeker, you know what I mean? You give him a compliment or two in the first half for the replays and everything else, it fires him up. It just goes to show positive reinforcement for anybody is a good thing, especially a video editor like Kenny Reeker.
Want to take a moment to say hi to some folks watching around the country, and I do emphasize country because we have Kim Phillips watching from Boston, Kimmy, Uncle Jay, and H-Bear watching in Boston all of a sudden. Also, easy for me to say, Alexandria McNinch, and she's watching from Belding, Michigan. just signed last week to play basketball at Albion next year. She's a senior in high school, so that's fantastic. Can't wait to call you games next year. Also from Ottawa, Ohio, Evelyn Wishmeyer's grandma is watching, says we love Ev and the Brits, so we thank her for tuning in. And last but not least, Judy Shepard enjoying the game, watching from Fort Myers Beach, Florida. Granddaughter is number 23, Evelyn Wishmeyer. So
there you go.
It's a family thing going on there. And Phyllis Larson also sent us a message, watching a granddaughter Amanda play from Howard City. Thanks for the comments and replays. You're doing a great job. So, Ken, great job. Great job, everybody.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Jade's doing well. And
great job, Jade.
Hopefully we can just live up to their standards here in this second half, Jim, because, again, when you have good people around you, good things can happen. I guess that's what they keep hoping for with us, at least.
They just keep telling us that, and one of these days we'll heed their word.
All right, the Bells will start the second half with the basketball. And again, they start with their starting five: Murphy, Paradiso, Mosier, Dugas, and Rosepa. And the first shot of the afternoon in the second half is taken by Mosier. No good. Fought for on the floor here at the Kresge. Goes out of bounds. The officials are going to have to talk about it a little bit.
He didn't see.
Nobody really got a good set of eyeballs on it. And they're just going to have to make up their mind here. Ball will stay with the Bells. That doesn't make the home crowd very happy, but
the longer you wait to make that call, the more frustrating it gets. And you're hoping you can just kind of talk the official into it if they didn't see it. Oh, yeah, let's just run down the floor. It's our ball. It's our ball. But a good job by the officials communicating to try to get the best call.
6 seconds to shoot right now. Dugas, show and go, stops on the baseline, and unfortunately loses it off her knee.
And that was a tough possession right there for the Bells. Again, almost turning it over early and then letting that shot clock run all the way down, and then ultimately the turnover to give it back.
Britons with Welker, Larson, Wishmeyer, Hinton, and Burness on the floor to open up quarter number 3. Elena Welker bounces into Hinton. She draws the double team.
Man, that's good defense on Hinton.
Wishmeyer worked the baseline, kicked it out to Larson for the easy bucket. And there, Grandma, there's a couple for Amanda.
And we talked about how Hinton was getting open after a slow start. She was finding the soft spot. That's what Larson did there. They kept their dribble, and she was open. Got a body bump right there on the other end, though.
Larson will draw the foul as Mosier on the drive. First foul of the second half on either team. That's 2 now on Amanda for the afternoon.
Greg checking in from Dearborn Heights, Michigan, watching the game. Appreciate the email. And again, it's webcast@albion.edu. Greg is rooting for the Brits today. And we appreciate Greg and everybody else watching from around the area and around the country.
How do I score 1,000 points in a season? Well, you know what? If I'm
creative.
Giovanna Paradiso, I find a spot and toss it over my head.
Well, and again, you just take and Hinton just did the same thing. Tough shot, double team, but you throw it at the what we always jokingly call the magic square above the rim right there, and usually good things are going to happen as Hinton gets the steal as well. Going 2 for 1 here.
Scorers just know how to score, Jimmy. That happens all the time, and I think Hinton out of control is going to get called for the charge. Just going to check those personal fouls real quick. Ross.
Hinton hurt that right hand, Jim.
Ross has 2. Larson with 3 personal fouls now. 2 for Welker and 1 for Sweetland, Burgess, and that is now the first foul as well on Rain Hinton this afternoon, and hopefully nothing serious as she exits the ball game.
Those fingers on the right hand definitely favoring them coming off the floor.
Murphy had a little double team going as the Brits go back in that zone look again. Dugas dishes to Mosier on the right wing, skips out. Tip goes long, picked up by Ross. Britain's basketball.
Bell's player slow to get up right there. That was Dugas, but she's able to get back up the floor to help her team.
Welker almost got one to go.
Well, it's got to be a foul, Jim.
Mosier's on the floor.
That's got to be a foul going against Welker right there. See the right hand swat going for the rebound right there, and I don't know if she caught her in the head or if it was the watch the right hand there. And then and then her man alive. Back of the head hits the floor right there, and you see she's understandably still down in some significant pain right there.
I'll tell you what, this floor is not forgiving by any stretch of the imagination, and you did see
that battle. Yep.
On the replay. We missed that in live action there. Saw the hand, but
yeah, I didn't think the SWAT was going to be enough to cause that kind of discomfort or situation.
So, Jade Mosier trying to compose herself. She gets up and she will get a big hand from everybody here at the Kresge.
She's such a tough young lady, Jim. Do not want to see her out for any period of time, but an extended period of time.
After that head bump, I got to believe she's going to be out for a little while as they bring her over. Because she looks a little bit wobbly.
Yeah, player safety is paramount, as it should be in all these sports, and you want to make sure she's 100% before you let her go back out.
Olivia Lathers will check in her place, number 5. Olivia looks like over spring break she got to the sun somewhere. She had a nice tan going and the whole works. Well, again, over at Notre Dame, I guess over at South Bend there, maybe it's a little sunnier over there than it is over here.
Possibly.
Ball gets kicked to the corner. Dugas kicks it back to Murphy.
Paradiso calling for the ball on the other side, but that's good Brits defense right there, Jim. You can't find her.
Right idea, just couldn't find enough floor to bounce the ball on. Burness with the rebound but can't get it to go. And Lathers, who just came in the ball game, working her way through a lot of white jerseys to get the other end.
And this is not Paradiso's strength right here at 3. She'll pass that up.
Jump shot's a little bit wide. Rebound again comes off to the Bells at Murphy.
That's a scrappy Bells team, Jim.
Paradiso goes to the rim hard and will be fouled. Who are they going to call it on? Which? One of the young ladies under there. They'll go number 4, Tiffany Burgess. Wishmeyer also down there with Emily Burness.
Good news, Jim, for the Bells. Jade Mosier already back on the bench. I just saw her walk in.
I'll tell you, to be 20 years old again, you know. Paradiso misses the free throw.
A little noise there on the free throw. You see her smile, too. It doesn't happen very often. Paradiso, again, 85% free throw shooter. That ball usually goes through the hoop.
Only 9 points on the afternoon, so that makes it double digits. Rain hitting about to check back in, so that's good news. Nothing serious there for Rain in her fingers. Tiffany Burgess will take a seat.
Yeah, she's still kind of working the digits out on that right hand, though.
Britton's being very deliberate right now with his offense. No need to rush anything. Emily Burness found a wide open lane to the rim. Somebody turned their head and lost track of 32.
I think that was Paradiso on defense. Getting out of bounds.
A little too far for Bella Dugas, and the ball goes out of bounds. It will be Britton's ball again.
Substitution for the Bells. Christina Shadid checks in, and Rzepka checks out. See a serious wrap on Shadid's right hand too, Jim.
Well, you know, at this point in time of the season, nobody's 100% healthy, right?
Oh!
Goodness gracious, Rebecca Ross with the end one.
Look at the swagger on her. I love it.
Trying on top by 1 right now, Jim, with 12:08 to play in the basketball game, 56-55. So the Britons have cut a 10-point lead down to a single digit.
Yep. Second half team. Burness takes his seat, and J.C. King checks in for the Brits. Again, I love the confidence, the way Rebecca Ross carries herself on that floor.
And the free throw will catch the front of the iron, the glass, and then head its way to the floor here. The Kresge is the Britons.
Freshmen are basically sophomores at this point in the season anyway.
I'll tell you, Paradiso was just standing on that left low block.
Oh, she dragged that pivot foot, Jim.
But the double team out front didn't allow any of the Bells to see her. And by the time she got the basketball, there were too many white jerseys down there to make something happen.
Bella Dugas is going to get whistled for the foul. There's a lot of contact down there.
Paradiso not happy with it either. She was not a happy person with that call, as she was walking her way into the front court and just talking all along.
Walking with purpose.
Yes. Whatever she was not happy about, at least she got it off her chest without looking at any of the guys in the striped shirt. So a little venting on the way down is not a bad thing as Wishmeyer hits a big three. And 60 now to 28.
Statistics will show that she's pretty good at that.
Yes, she is. Another turnover.
Take it all the way.
Rebecca Ross has it. And the Britons really pouring it on right now, Jim.
Is she really a freshman?
Yes, sir.
She's playing fun? Like a junior right now, Jim.
Isn't that fun to watch, huh? Buddha and Shadid about ready to check in once this timeout is over here on the floor with 5.5 to play, quarter number 3.
56-55, still your score over in Angola. The Trying Thunder lead the Britain's men's team. 10:59 to play in the second half, so definitely anyone's game over there. And we'd like to remind you to visit GoBrits.com for all Albion College winter sports action. You can follow them on Twitter, get all the information that way. And again, just GoBrits.com. That's the website you need to know to get all the Albion College sports info.
You know, Jimmy, we talked a little bit about Langston Johnson leading all scorers at halftime with 10 down in that men's contest. Langston still has yet to get off the schneid here in the second half, still with 10 points. And James L. Davis, 21 right now. Yeah.
Pretty good, and he likes that floor.
Yes, he does like that floor.
As even Sports Center will recall from last year.
Seemed to hit kind of a mid-range shot there last year in the semifinals of the MIAA game. I guess you call that.
Just another Saturday.
Yeah, it was.
Just another, or was that a? No, that was on a Friday.
That was on a Friday, and then they wrapped everything up on that Saturday, I believe, in that championship game.
Yep, they go to the NCAAs.
Opportunity for Rebecca Ross to complete this three-point play, and she does just that. Brits do have to go to St. Mary's yet towards the end of this season to end everything, and a blocking foul will go against Rebecca Ross.
Yep, got the hand out, but then kind of threw that left leg out a little bit too. And the hand wasn't that much. It was the leg that drew the whistle.
Cavanaugh in the ball game here for the Bells. She has the basketball right now. Welker on her. Paradiso didn't see Wish coming, but had a hold of that ball pretty well. There's the spin move through two different people.
Got the block.
3 Brits down there on that baseline, and Paradiso with a jump ball situation, actually, but the arrow pointing towards the Brits.
You do the next best thing right there. Instead of letting your frustration make you do something bad, you reach in and you get a tie ball. Now the possession arrow goes back to the Bells. The lead's 35, yeah. But again, this is a tremendous basketball player who's just kind of feeling the frustration of the day. But even in those moments of frustration, not letting it make her do something that she regrets.
Jump shot's no good by the Brits. Rebound comes down to Paradiso. Wishmeyer with her hand on it. And she does get it, but the reach around is going to get Wish the foul here.
Had a hand on the top of that ball, but then I think kind of kept that one and got Paradiso's right hand on the pass right there.
For Wishmeyer now, that is her first foul of the afternoon. She has 17 points on the afternoon.
5 fouls against the Brits will send Paradiso to the line for free throws. And once you hit the number, it's all 2 shots now. The rules change. I believe it's only in women's.
Giovanna really having a kind of a rough afternoon. First of all, we have doubled and triple teamed her all afternoon.
And that's what's causing the free throws not to go down.
Just not a happy person right now. She misses both of those. Boy, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Hitting with the rebound, Brits on the move. Wishmeyer on the low block, had the ball knocked away. Good job by Delaney Rollman, who checked in.
Bell's team scrappy, Jim. I like it.
Yeah, they are.
They're tough.
You know what? And that's hard to say when you're down 35 points. Okay, you wouldn't expect that to be an appropriate adjective, but doggone it, they have been. They have just scrapped all around.
They're tough. I can see how a team this well coached comes in and wins a play-in game last year.
There's the first one. So Paradiso now 1 for her last 3 here in the last 30 seconds.
Definitely a frustrating day for Giovanna, though.
And 2 for 4 now. She bumps it back up to 500 at this point. And for Paradiso now 11 points on the afternoon. Hinton. No place to go. Brits bring it out to Wishmeyer and swing it to Welker on the left side.
They're wanting to work it into Hinton, but good defense by Paradiso.
12 to shoot, plenty of time. Rain gives the ball to J.C. King. Jump shot by Wishmeyer catches absolutely nothing and goes out of bounds. Coach Carden off the bench right now, yelling some instructions to her team. And now we're going to start to move some people in. Welker comes over to the sideline, sits down.
It was a good defensive possession by the Bells, though, Jim.
Here's a name we have not had, and we need Bobby Lee around it to ask. Sarika Finjap, I believe, is the name, number 20.
Yep.
And she gets the block. Just into the game, there's block number 2. Yeah, we're going to have to make sure we got that name right because doggone it.
Sharika with 2 big blocks right there.
Nice job.
Feeder.
Up. Oh, no good, but she's fouled.
See on the defensive side.
So
Man.
no thank you.
The hops. And the second block here. Just as nice. Coming strong. Nope. Get that big left hand in there. Knock it away. No thanks.
Freshman again, Jimmy, 6'2", out of Kalamazoo. Really has not had a lot of time, playing time.
Nope. Only gets about a point a game. 50% free throw shooter. But again, 2 quick blocks, making an impact down low.
And there you go. Matches her average on the season, Jim. 1 out of 2.
Bad pass. Going back.
I'll tell you what.
She's on Paradiso on defense right there, too. So what has been a frustrating day for Giovanna is probably going to get more frustrating now if Sharika can continue to block shots like that.
Brits very comfortably ahead here. Deep into the third quarter. Hinton kind of broadcasted that one out.
Yeah, I think it's a good no call, though.
Roman was looking for a trip there. Inside, woo, there you go. Sharika with her first field goal of the afternoon. She now has 3 points for the Lady Brits.
Practice paying off on the game floor on game day.
I'll tell you what, this is a basketball team in the Britons, as we said, relatively young.
Kick.
Wish gets the kick. And there's some young talent coming. This is going to be a fun team to watch over the course of the next few years, no doubt.
I think that might be the first time we also got an email from a student who had said that they're coming next year. So, I mean, that's fantastic.
Isn't that something, too? Alina Welker to check into the ball game. Hinton will go take a seat now as Mackenzie Domain comes into the ball game for the Britons.
You don't want to assume with still 2:50 to go in quarter number 3 that that's it for the day. You probably see him again, the one, so to speak, again a little bit later, but you can give him a breather right now.
Could be the end, though. You never can tell. 3-point shot catch, nothing but cords for Rosepa.
24% three-point shooter on the season. Gets you 6 a game.
And Rosepa now, that was her first bucket of the afternoon.
Good. Look at this defense.
Bell's still playing hard right now. There's no doubt. Easy little jump shot for Welker. I mean, again, the amount of talent on these two teams, when you look at that, the Bells are lacking there. Not enough depth, not enough really solid players to bring off that bench and keep their efforts going. But boy, you can't fault them for hustle. Nope. They're really putting it on the floor here today.
And you can't just have a team with one like super impactful score. You have to be able to spread the wealth, so to speak.
There you go, Mr. Reeker with a quick look into the Trine game on the other side there. Shot no good. Brits pick up the ball. Sarika then again, just doing a nice job all the way around today.
Kick it out, open look.
floater up, bounces around, will not go down. Bells pull down the rebound.
Don't let Paradiso drive all the way to the basket.
Paradiso looking to do just that.
Jim, she took about 3 steps off that last dribble right there.
Get the rebound and put it back in.
65-64 your score over in Angola. Trine men lead the Brits by 1. Still 7 minutes to play in the contest. Good up.
This thing might just come down to the final buzzer again down in Trine. And don't forget, we will have that men's game, that men's Trine game on the 12th day of February here at the Kresge. Britons have doubled up the Bells here this afternoon. Paradiso with a show down the lane, a little too hard. Ball goes out of bounds, but off a Brit.
And you know why she had to release that shot as early as she did with the left hand right there. You had Sharika Finjap ready to jump up and swat another one away. So again, the impact was felt early, and it has been consistent by that young lady out there.
I think you're going to see an awful lot of substitutions going on right now as the Bells bring in Megan Saunders and several other. Sophie Keppel in the game. She has the ball right now.
It's also going to test the conditioning of some of these young Britons players. Maybe you don't see as much floor time.
She did 44 on the floor as well, and the shot clock goes off before the Bells can get a ball to hit the rim.
Good job by the Brits defense there, Jim.
31 seconds, so the shot clock is still on. There's about a second difference between the game clock here in quarter number 3 and the shot clock as Welker will take her time. You can bet if something opens up right now on this spread out man defense here by the Bells, Welker's going to go to the rim as quick as she can. There's the spin.
There you go.
Kick out for 3. Doesn't hit anything. Touched a couple of hands underneath. They both were white shirts, and the ball will go back to the Bells with 1 second left to go in this third quarter.
Out of the hands or the top of somebody's head, one of the two.
It bounced around a little bit. Long shot at the buzzer will not be good even if it goes. And we have 3 in the books right now, and the Brits have doubled up the Bells 70-30 here on the Britain Sports Network.
High school sophomores and juniors are invited to get a taste of what Albion has to offer. Albion 101 is scheduled for April 9th. Direct questions to the Office of Admission, 517-629-0718, or visit albion.edu/admission.
Garland hits both free throws down at Trine, and again, it's a 2-point game, 70-68 with 5.5 to play and a timeout. Wow, I'll tell you what, if you've not been down to Trine and their facility down there, you are missing one of the beautiful gymnasiums in the conference, and there are a few of them. And in a couple of years, there's going to be one sitting right here. The Kresge that we love so much to do ball games in, though, eventually, I think they said at the golf outing this year, it's the second oldest gymnasium, college gymnasium, still being used in the country. And there is now a campaign going, and if you'd like to help, obviously you can get a hold of Maury Ditzler, or you can get a hold of Matt Aaron, or anybody here at the college. If you got a couple extra dollars in that wallet that you'd like to throw towards the new construction of the gymnasium, it sure would be an easy way to help us out. And in a couple more years, we're going to be having our own facility to brag about. Not that this isn't a fun one. You know what we talked about on the way home the other night? In some ways, you'd like to have that new gym. In other ways, to leave this one is going to be a little bit difficult.
It's going to be different, yeah. It's definitely going to be different, but certainly want to thank the Serra family for their generous support and the ability it allows Albion College to do to make consistent and continued improvements.
Keppel ran out of real estate underneath the bucket. Reach in foul out front on Welker.
Going for the poke right there, and then that left hand gets out and makes a little contact at the end. Certainly did not mean to do that. I think Coach Carden would agree with the assessment that you don't want the clock to stop at this point. You're doubling them up 70-35. You want that clock to keep on rolling.
Coach Carden will be our guest after the ball game tonight, and we're going to talk to her husband, it looks like maybe on Wednesday night, talk a little baseball. Brits baseball here. Boy, I'll tell you what, we're always available in baseball season to do baseball games too, Just if Matt Aaron's out there listening right now, just a You know, just a bug in your ear there, Matt. Just
especially
a bug.
Especially when it's sunny.
Yeah, especially when it's sunny.
If it's overcast and still pretty chilly, then we'll still be available, but I'd love to have it be sunny.
She did actually, with the steal on the other end, want the length of the floor, gets fouled. Quick hands right there by Shadid.
Yep. Can you see that wrap on the right wrist right there, not impacting her ability to play. We saw it with Q on Wednesday too. And again, it's not just the little bumps and bruises you get in the games. You know, these young ladies are out practicing multiple times a week too. You know, they're hitting the weight room, they're doing all the other things that coach needs them to do. And so, you know, if you're not getting it during a game, you're getting it in practice. You know, you're doing everything you can to fight for those minutes.
So the Britons on top now, still 70-35, as nobody's scored for a little while here in this one. Rebecca Ross kicks it back out front. Tiffany Burgess, they swing it to the left side. Sweetland drives all the way under the bucket and leaves it a little short. Finjap there with the rebound, but couldn't get it back in, and should go to the free throw line.
75-72, you're scoring in. Gola still holding a one-possession lead. 3 points the advantage, and they have the ball. And a quick up and in. That's a big basket for the Thunder right there.
Britons have outscored the Thunder in the second half, 41-37 now. But
actually, the live stats are a little ahead of the video there, as you just saw that basket made at 75-72. So
yeah,
slight discrepancy between the live stats on GoBrits.com and what the video feed shows, which does happen sometimes.
A little delay there with these webcasts all the time. Wow, I'll tell you, that was a good sign. Thing bounced around and found its way through, as we're going to bring that starting team. You said that, Jim, a little while ago. I was skeptical as to whether we were bringing Rain Hinton and the group back in, but
that's
they do.
That's a lot of time for your younger players. You don't want them to get gassed and then start making mistakes out there. You want to understand what their limits are.
Saunders
foul on the floor
is the young lady that was fouled. She brought the ball into the front court.
You get Burness on that one. Yep, Emily Burness with the foul.
See the replay on this one.
Body bump. And she's looking like she was the one who kind of jumped into the contact right there. So if she goes to the ground, that was her doing, not mine, but official doesn't see it that way. Strip.
Wishmeyer with some quick hands. She did with the basketball. Three-point jump shot is a little bit short there by Dugas, but she gets the rebound.
Following her shot.
8.5 to play in this basketball game. You will probably not see this starting five on the floor for the entire quarter, I would think.
Big block right there by Amanda Larson, Jim.
Well, Larson says, you know what?
I can do that too.
I know how. Bring her down the low block, and I'll show you, young Miss Freshman, how we do it here.
79-78, trying up one with just under 3 to play.
Think about Larson and Finjap together.
Shot clock violation.
On the floor next year in that low post.
Good luck.
6'2", 5'11". I mean, Larson only a sophomore right now.
And long hands and quick hops.
Yep.
So you're never out of the play on defense.
And oh, by the way, 6-foot-tall Rain Hinton's going to be down there with them as well. So, yeah. That front court's going to be
she had a one-on-one right there.
Burness will bring it out, kick it back to Wishmeyer, back to Burness. To Wish on the go. Down around to Hinton. Hinton with the follow-away jump shot. You can hear the swish all the way up here.
The soft touch.
73-35. That's the way Kenny Reeker used to hit him when he played basketball. Now, at that point in time, though, the guy had to climb up the ladder and get the ball out of the basket and restart the play at that point in time.
The old apple bucket.
Yeah.
I got you.
But Kenny dropped him just as clean as Hinton did on that last shot into that apple bucket. Amanda Larson kind of works through all the bodies and finds an easy little spot on the baseline, and look at that.
Men have taken a 1-point lead, 80-79. Just under 2.5 to play.
Pull one off down there.
Last possession wins probably.
Jump shot is no good, and the Britons. Welker has the basketball. Under 7 to play in this basketball.
Pass.
And the league's top three-point shooter says,
I got you.
yeah, this one's not that hard. You're going to leave me that wide open.
And the no-look pass. The defender just completely disappeared there.
Let's go over and take a look at that here in the afternoon. Evelyn
Timeout on the floor for Trine and Angola as the Britons lead by 1. Now just 2:03 to play in that contest. 80-79. I really do think, Jim, last possession wins on that one.
No doubt about that. Could very easily be that situation. Evelyn Wishmeyer for the afternoon, 4 for 7 from downtown, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 6 for 14 overall, 20 points. Rain Hinton also with 20 this afternoon. She's 9 for 11 from the floor, 2 for 2 from the line. 5 rebounds right now for Hinton, 8 rebounds for Amanda Larson this afternoon to go along with her 8 points. And on the other side, Paradiso with 14 points here on the afternoon. A pretty good afternoon for Giovanna. 17 on the year on the average, so another bucket probably gets her there. But all in all, again, the rest of that Bells team, nobody else in double figures wearing that navy blue and white this afternoon.
They want to work it down to her, but Hinton guarding her.
Kavanaugh goes strong to the hole, puts up the floater, and that one goes down.
Now full court pressure being shown by the Bells, but probably a little too late. They got to get timeout.
Ball's loose. And a
10 seconds.
10-second call against the Brits. Coach Carden down here kind of shaking her heads. Finjap will come back in. Rain Hinton now, I believe, is done for the afternoon.
6:16 to play in the contest, and I think you're right. I think I would like to see a little bit more from the Britons in terms of how to handle that full court pressure. But, you know, again, I think the score being what it is, it kind of caught them by surprise a little bit there, figuring you're up 41. Game's over for all intents and purposes, but a good job by the Bells to dial up that full court pressure, and it caused the turnover.
Britain shooting 52% of the afternoon from the floor, 40% from distance.
Nice tie-up right there by Tiffany Burgess. Trying to figure out to work her way around Sharika Finjap right there as the ball goes back to the Brits. And your net gain for that is a turnover with somebody else coming in for help defense and getting the ball.
J.C. King also on the floor, number 12 for the Britons. And we'll get a foul against the Bells.
82-79. Britons have extended their lead now with 1 minute to play.
So you're
crunch time.
Watching the action right now.
It is crunch time. Brits with the ball, with the lead. We'll keep you posted.
Elena Welker with the basketball. They swing it back to the left side to J.C. King. Brings it out front to Finjab again. Here comes the drive by Welker. Off the glass a little bit short, but she gets her own rebound. And the ball stripped away. She did. End to end. Bounce, stop, short.
Might have walked there.
Yep.
But good effort.
I think they're going to let him play a little bit here now. Easy little lay-in by Domain. So McKenzie from Saginaw gets her first bucket of the afternoon.
Another layup drill.
Welker with the spin, off the glass. And the Britons might be heading towards 100 here this afternoon, Jim. Could very easily. Murphy to Dugas, and Dugas will bring it back out front.
Yeah, it's deceptive the amount of time. There's still 5 minutes to play in this contest.
Halfway home, yeah, there's no doubt. Tons of time. Dugas gets Finjab in the air and then gets the foul. In fact, that's Paradiso that got her in the air.
Yeah, and that's, again, that's what one of the league's best scorers will do right there is, you know, Sharika's all over her on defense, doing everything she needs to do, but it's just the pivot, you know, and keep moving that body, get the dribble, and knowing what to do with your footwork to put yourself in a position to draw a little contact and go to the line.
Still 82-79 with just like a minute to play right now as we're watching both games at this point in time. Under a minute now, huh?
You and I peeked down at our phones for the exact same reason at the exact same time there. 42 seconds to play in that contest.
There you go. Sorry about that, but this game, which we've enjoyed the whole way through, as the first one goes down for Paradiso.
The final is not in question.
Nope, I think we know who's going to win this one.
The two teams have 82 points apiece, so that's talk about parity.
Yeah. It's that game down in Angola that's kind of the curiosity right now. 82-79, still 26 ticks left. The Brits have the ball.
And they're going to the line. A chance to extend to a 2-possession game.
Floater. Oh, I thought that was going to find its way in.
You had an over-the-back call right there. I don't like that call right there. Even though Hannah Cavanaugh had position, she didn't go up for the rebound, Jim. First free throw is good in Angola. And it's now 83-79.
Olivia Hancock now for the Brits, number 14. James L. Davis wears 14 on the men's side. Hancock 14 on the ladies' side. She's in the game right now. Cavanaugh makes the first one.
Nail-biting time in Angola. Brits looking to put it away and get a big road win.
And the second one will not go in. That's the first of 3 road games for the men. So they started trying, and they still have to play 2 more before they come back home.
You want to be atop the conference.
Got to win them there. Well,
you know, win them there. 84-79 your score, Jim. They knocked them both down.
What's Coach always say? You know, you take care of your home court and you try to grab a few on the road. This would be a big one on the road. There's no doubt.
Yeah, if you can go 500 on the road and get them all at home, you're in pretty good shape.
Delaney Rollman not able to put both hands on that basketball as it goes into the Bell's bench, and the Britons will get the basketball back.
Give them webcast at albion.edu. Let us know where you're watching, who you're rooting for. We got an offensive foul going the other way against Tiffany Burgess. And if you happen to be kind of simulcasting, so to speak, from Angola, and you want to check in and let us know if there's anything going on there that maybe you don't pick up during the stream, then that might be a fun thing to do as well. So webcast at albion.edu.
Brits pretty much have that one under control right now with 18 ticks left, 84-79, you would think. But I'm waiting to see those double zeros up on that scoreboard before
we ahead. Yes, sir.
All the way to the rim goes Hannah Cavanaugh.
Yep, they got Burgess, and no lead safe as far as I'm concerned in Angola. Got a timeout, so you can't score during the timeout, so we're okay right now.
That's the good news.
They forbade that a while ago.
Well, there are some gyms around the country where some people might claim that can happen, but not in the MIAA. Those happen down in the Carolinas most of the time, I think, you know.
I'd like to meet one of those people and respectfully disagree with them.
Both free throws missed, and the Brits with the rebound. And they turn that basketball right back over. Lady Bell still not giving up. That one hit the side of the backboard. And the Britons right now just kind of finishing things off.
This one's staying.
Game got just a little bit sloppy as the substitutions are made, but boy, what a great experience for these young ladies to be able to get out and get this kind of time, Jim, on an MIAA court on a Saturday afternoon. They normally don't get that time and that much happening. Cortez Garland going to the free throw line for the Britons with a 5-point lead down in Angola. Jump shot is left just a little bit short by Burgess. She'll get another opportunity. No, she'll kick it back out front. And a 3-point. Olivia Hancock. Her first points of the afternoon. So there you go. We're starting to see some new faces out here. And I'll tell you what, Jim, I have been extremely impressed with the ladies that are coming off the bench here today. And in fact, we did hear from one that's coming to play with us next year. And I hope that she's ready for a little competition, because there's some depth on this Britons basketball team. And a little more depth is always welcome up here in Albion.
Got a foul on the floor.
Rollman gets fouled.
Might be a little sloppier in terms of, just it's going to happen when you bring in, new players. And I'm not just going to say younger players. I'm just going to say new players. It mixes with the chemistry, and you want to continue to run the offense. And things, people are going to bump into each other. They're going to try to find the right position to be in and things like that. It's going to happen.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the only way they're going to get better at that is more experience on the floor in games like this. So being able to run that almost that entire third quarter on the floor with those the freshmen and some of those younger players who don't get as many minutes, you can't put a price on how valuable that is for those young ladies.
Here you go, the inbounds pass at Angola right now with just 11 seconds to go. As Garland gets it in, it looks like he was going to be fouled immediately. And Cortez Garland, one of the better free thrower for shooters on the team, has an opportunity to really put that one away down in Angola. But it does look like the men, after a slow first half, might have pulled a big win.
Yeah. Stop me if you've heard this one before, right?
Yep.
Slow start, but a strong second half potentially propels them to victory. I'm not going to say does, because it's hard to win in Angola, my friend.
Now, is Paradiso still playing even with 2.5 to play? Here's the free throws. This is James L. Davis actually going to take these shots. And he knocks it in. And with
I think
that
it's
one,
over.
I believe.
Just don't foul.
3-point shot will be short. Rebound comes off to M.J. Barnes, and that one's in the bag. Brits go down and pull a big win off, and there's only one undefeated team on the men's side nowadays in the MIAA.
They're wearing purple and gold, my friend.
Yes, sir, they do. 2:11 to play in this one here, and the Lady Brits trying to keep everything going in the right direction for their hopes for the MIAA, and they'll have hope coming to town here shortly.
And shout out to Ken Rieker for making that happen with the simulcast as we get an eye poke, and again, just players going for the loose ball right there. This one's going against Delaney Rollman.
So we will focus our attentions now on the Lady Brits and bring this one home. 88-82 is the final there in Angola this afternoon. The men victorious. I had a friend of mine that texted me and said they were all eating Italian today down in Angola. Left-handed floater goes in for J.C. King. So maybe it's all that good Italian food they had in them here this afternoon.
If you believe in that kind of stuff, Jim, maybe that's your pregame meal every time now.
Jump shot for Cavanaugh is a little bit short. Dameron with the rebound for the Britons.
Again, I love the Bells even off the miss. Brits get the defensive rebound, but going out, got a carry right there. Yeah,
good
going
call.
Out and trying to get that poke instead of just going back on defense and kind of giving up on the play. They don't give up on the play, which I admire that.
Britons bring Sweetland back into the lineup. Finjap comes, thought she was being substituted for, so she was heading towards the bench. Two were leaving, and only one was coming on for that moment there.
I still need you out there, Shrika.
That'll be fun to talk to the coach after this one here today, as her ladies have really put up a nice afternoon of basketball here at the Kresge.
Sharika has really impressed me on the defensive side, Jim.
87-41 Britons.
Good tie right there by the Bells. And they are scrappy. Man, those Bells are scrappy on defense.
So Paradiso is 1 point away from her season average here with 16 now.
You surprised she's still out there?
Kinda. But again, she probably just wants to play. The junior just.
And who am I to tell her no?
Yeah, and that's more than likely. There she is with the rebound and the putback. Nope.
What a difference maker Sharika has been underneath, Jim.
Sharika Finjap from Kalamazoo, the 6'2 freshman. Coach said at the very first game when we came in, we asked about the new folks around. She said, well, got a couple freshmen. Never know how they're going to work out in this league. But sure is some potential there. And, man, we've seen it here this afternoon, haven't we, huh?
Yep. Paradiso with the strip right there on the drive to the basket. Now we're getting perilously close to the conclusion of today's game. 25.4 to play in the contest.
Well, we won't hit 100 today, but that's all right as well as the ball gets turned over.
Now the only thing that matters is getting the win. They're
And
going
that
to get it today.
will definitely be a good thing. 15-3, the Brits about ready to go 15-3 and 7-2 in the conference. Paradiso wide left.
Not her strength right there, Jim, but again, just trying to do some things.
3-on-1, fin jab, yes! I'll tell you what, this young lady has come in.
That's fitting right there. The Bells trying to get the ball to Paradiso. The Britons defense stepping in front of it. Another takeaway at the end.
So the Britons will put this one in the bank here today, 89-41 on the Britain Sports Network. And we expected that it was going to be a game that was not necessarily close this afternoon. I don't know that I expected the Brits to more than double them up this afternoon. St. Mary's on the year now will fall to 7-11 and 4-5 in the conference. And for the Britons, as I said this afternoon, they put another W on the column. Britons here will actually be playing against Hope on Wednesday night, and we will be here to bring you that ball game. That should be a good one. And then on Saturday, they will round out this 3-game homestand with Adrian, and they'll be celebrating 50 years of Albion women's basketball a week from today. And then they will go on the road on that following Wednesday to Olivet for the Lady Bells. They basically will head home now, 2 home games against Adrian and Calvin before they will go back out on the road with Alma. So we'll step away for just a minute here. The Brits win today 89-41 on the Britain Sports Network.
Hello.
Hi, I'm from Blue Hill Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you, and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning.
Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come
Come on in.
Brochettes with sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, you know, they're the end pieces of the zucchini, and they're the cores that we cut away, not to mention zucchini flour. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that, oh.
Again?
I'm here to bring you your third course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta, a different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
The Kresge, Jim and Jim here as the Lady Brits have done a nice job this afternoon. Really just kind of running right on past the Lady Bells, 89-41. We'll get Coach Carden up here in just a minute. Jim, I'll tell you what else is going on around the area here that maybe folks might be interested in.
Well, before we get to the post-game stats for this exciting contest, want to let everyone know that Winterfest Albion 2020 is coming February 1st. Join us for a full day of winter activities in Albion, including the annual Cardboard Classic sled race at 10 a.m., Friends of Albion's Animals bake sale from 11 to 3 at yesterday's news, a blues workshop at the Dickerson Music Company from 3 to 5 p.m., and live music featuring the Aston Neighborhood Pleasure Club starting at 7 p.m. at the Albion Malleable Brewing Company. Contact the Greater Albion Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau 517-629-5533 for more info, Jim.
Looking at the stats this afternoon, the Britons got off to a great start. They were up 23-11 at the end of the first quarter, up 48-25 at the half. Then outscored the Bells 22-10 in the third quarter, 19-6 in the fourth quarter to total things out at 89-41. For the Britons this afternoon, they scored 50 on a 51% clip here, 36 of 70, compared to the Bells 14 of 58 this afternoon. Also from behind the arc today, 17 shots from behind the three-point line today. They made 7 of them, 41.2%. The Bells, half of that, 4 for 19 here today. From the free throw line, basically the Bells got to the charity stripe a lot more than the Brits did this afternoon.
20 times.
Only 9 of 20, though, this afternoon, so they could not take advantage of that. 11 for 12 for the Britons here today.
And half of those free throws, Jim, came from Giovanna Paradiso. She was 6 of 10 from the charity stripe.
Turnovers, that's the one thing I'm sure Coach not ever happy with, but again, for the Britons this year, they are really averaging right around 20 turnovers an afternoon, 18 in the conference, 21 on the season. And again, this afternoon they had quite a few of them. But then again, when the other team's turning the ball over the same amount of time as you are, 22 times, and the Brits are able to, or 26 times, and the Britons are able to make 30 points off those turnovers, things are to your liking at that point in time. But again, 20 turnovers, 22 turnovers, 26 turnovers. Neither one of these coaches really all that happy, I'm sure, with the way that went down. Look at the rebounds this afternoon, 58-31 for the Britons. Good job on that side. When you go down to blocks, Britons had 9 blocks this afternoon. I wonder who got a few of those this afternoon, huh?
Well, quite a few of those, I believe.
Came from young number Miss 20.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. Sharika Finjap had an excellent game. 10 total rebounds to go with those 6 points and 4 blocked shots. So, you talk about a quality substitution, and she played over 11 and a half minutes in today's contest. In fact, only 2 players who had stats for the Brits played fewer than 5 minutes. Everybody else who you see on the scoring sheet played at least 10 minutes and 45 seconds or more. And again, Sharika, 11 minutes, 36 seconds on the floor. 2 of 3 field goals, 2 of 4 free throws, 8 defensive rebounds, 4 blocked shots, and just, again, a fantastic afternoon of basketball. And the ability to be able to go out and test the depth of the team and give them an opportunity to gain very valuable experience in meaningful playing situations like that, because they were in early in the third quarter, and they played a majority of that third quarter into the fourth. And you don't want to push them out there too far. And so, you're going to have to get your ones back out there, even though you'd probably like to have them sit most of that second half. I don't know that that's realistic.
Yeah.
When you're given some of the younger players an opportunity to get out there and play, you also need to know, again, at what point are they starting to show signs of fatigue? Because with signs of fatigue comes, sometimes uncharacteristically sloppy play and things like that. And you don't want that to happen. You want that clock to run. So Coach Carden, again, did a fantastic job getting some of those players who don't get as much time some very valuable minutes and experience. And you saw some opportunities open up for some of those younger players who I think we're going to be calling their names a lot in the future.
Oh, I would agree. But today it was Evelyn Wishmeyer and Rain Hinton with 20 each, Rebecca Ross with 14, Amanda Larson with 8 this afternoon, 6 for Welker, 6 for Finjap. Emily Burness had 6 as well. J.C. King with 4. So the scoring went all the way down that list this afternoon. It was a pretty good afternoon of scoring and a great afternoon of basketball here for the Britons. And again, only one young lady on the other side for the Bells in double figures today, and that's Giovanna Paradiso. And again, that young lady can play some basketball. There is just no doubt about that. For the Lady Brits, they win this afternoon, and as we said, they are on their way now to play Hope on Wednesday night. We'll be back here for that ball game, and then Adrian on Saturday here, and then to be on the road to Olivet. And we've got the coach with us. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you?
I'll tell you what, that was just kind of like a walk in the park today, wasn't it, huh?
Yeah, it was fun. I like games like this.
You don't get many of them in this conference, do you, huh?
No. So you got to enjoy the ones
Yeah.
when you can.
Hey, we talk about all the folks on the top here. I mean, Wishmeyer, Hinton, all these guys, and they had great games again today. But, boy, when you brought the second team here today and you brought the young ladies in here today, let's talk about some of them today, because there's some fresh faces out there that we're going to see for the next several years, and they really did a good job for you this afternoon.
Yeah, it was good for them to get time. And a lot of them are freshmen. I thought Rebecca Ross played really well. She had a lot of good shots for us. JC, Nicole Sweetland, and then Sarika came in, played 11 minutes, 10 boards, 4 block shots, 6 points. So very productive when she was out there.
Yeah,
and they've been practicing really hard. They've been getting better. I mean, it's been a huge improvement since day one. So to see them actually play out here and do what they do is really nice for us.
With we made the comment because the very first time we talked to you this year and we asked about some of the new faces, and you said, well, we got some talent there, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's nice because, it helps us depth-wise, because, now we don't really lose much when we kind of sub kids. And even if we're giving them a minute or two break, at least we know we can get these kids in and they're going to do something for us, which is good. It's nice to know.
Yeah, Coach, let's talk a little bit about Rebecca Ross. I know you mentioned her and a player who, is getting more minutes and certainly earning more minutes.
Yep.
But there's a confidence and a swagger about that young lady that, sometimes you kind of you wonder, with a younger player holding the ball and being kind of running the offense. But I don't have those worries, those concerns with her out there.
Yeah.
What do you see from her kind of on a practice basis and translating that into games?
She is, by far. It's good that you see that, but she's probably one of the toughest players I've ever coached. She just carries herself. She wants to compete. She hates losing. So she's super tough. We're kind of throwing her in a position. She's not really a true point guard, but she's playing that position for us and doing well. It'd be nice to see her more on the wing because she's so explosive and such a good athlete. But I thought, and she's shooting the ball really well for us. So I think her coming in, and she's definitely gotten a lot better. But yeah, she is. She's a kid that I'm glad she's on our team. That's for sure.
And the ability to bring it up, and she drives strong as well, which means the defenders have to collapse, and you have some really good three-point shooters on this team too, so that makes life easier for Evelyn and Emily and people like that.
For sure. It takes more pressure off of them because other people can score. But Becca had a couple and ones. They were just tough takes to the hole and strong. She's so strong, and explosive. Like I said, I think if she continues to get better, she's going to be really tough in the next few years.
So, Coach, before today's game, you celebrated at midcourt. Rain Hinton scoring her 1,000th point earlier this week. What does she mean to you and also to this team?
Oh my gosh, Rain's been great, and not just as a player, but as a leader too. She's a kid that's really she's kind of really taking the team, and in the off season is really kind of pushing them. I think these kids just want to win, and she's doing whatever it takes to do that, and she's gotten a ton better, a ton stronger. And for her to get 1,000 points her junior year, it really says a lot for her. But yeah, she's so valuable. She's so valuable, and we're just lucky again to have another year with her.
And the same night, the Bells also had a scorer who reached her 1,000th point plateau, and you certainly have to give a lot of credit to Giovanna Paradiso. And boy, the defense did a fantastic job. She got her points.
She did.
But she really had to earn them today.
She did. I thought Sarika did a good job. They were a little scared going back inside when she was there. But she's so small. She's just so good using her body. She's got great footwork and very offensive-minded. But she's a really good player for sure.
Yep.
Wednesday night, Coach, we're coming back because there's this team coming in that we kind of wanted to see how we do,
Yeah.
Yeah, Hope's coming to town.
They're coming to town. They're going to be tough.
Yeah.
They're a really good team, so I'm hoping our kids are up for that game.
Well, you played them extremely well there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us, I didn't see that game, okay, but tell us a little bit about that game and maybe some of the things you're going to do a little bit different that maybe will give you that close win this time.
Yeah, it was a kind of tale of two halves. We came out and didn't play really well. They're so good defensively, so we struggled on the offensive end, and then the second half it was kind of role reversal where they really struggled and defensively for us picked up. And it was just kind of head-to-head thing, and unfortunately we came up on the losing side. But I have to watch more film. Like I said, they're really good. They flow into their offense really well. They got definitely a lot of good players, and their bench is really good too. But they're just so fast-paced, their defense, so we need to, I don't know what we're going to do yet, but we need to kind of figure that out fast.
Well, can we go ahead and put a call to arms right now and just invite basically everyone who can see and hear this?
For sure.
Get a ticket and come on in and make this gym really loud for them.
Oh my gosh, this would be a huge home court advantage. So yeah, anybody that's listening, you guys want to see a good game, come out Wednesday. For sure. It'd be awesome.
Well, they're ranked number 3 in the country now.
Yeah, they are.
Who cares, right?
Right. Right. That's what I said. Those are the
That's
fun
it.
games, right? How many times you get to play a third-ranked team twice in a year? I mean,
Yes.
you don't see that. So, I mean, this is fun. That's why I tell our kids, have fun with it.
Yeah.
For sure.
The amazing thing on our schedule left, we have the Hope and Trine game for
Yep.
both sides, okay?
Yep.
Hope and Trine for the ladies, Hope and Trine for the men.
Yep.
Those are the last 4 games that we get to do this year, and you don't think we've been circling those for a while?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting ending, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so as well. Hey, I'll tell you what, you guys did a great job. I know you have other things to do. We're going to get a chance to talk to a gentleman that's got the same last name that you do, and they say he's a baseball coach.
yeah?
Maybe Wednesday night.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah. How's that? You know who that guy
I
is?
definitely do. I don't see him a lot, but I know who he is.
Well,
Got different schedules.
If you get it a minute or two at halftime here, okay, against Hope when you're up by 20, okay, come on up and maybe you can reintroduce yourself.
That'd be
How's that
awesome,
sound?
for sure.
Doreen, a wonderful game again. A good job this afternoon. We're looking forward to the game on Wednesday.
Awesome. Thank you guys again for coming.
Thank
bet.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Doreen Carden, our guest here, and the ladies really did a nice job today, running away 89-41. That's going to wrap it up for us this afternoon. Thank you to all the folks here at Albion to help us this afternoon. Jade with a great job on the camera today. Jade Barrett, Kenny Reeker over there engineering and pushing all the buttons. And basically, I hope you enjoyed the cutaway today that we had between
giving us
Angola and here.
Live look in. Yeah, that was great.
Matt Aaron, didn't see Matt around here today, but the AD here at the college, always good to us. And Bobby Lee, we're looking forward to having Bobby back up here in the booth with us sometime soon. That'll wrap it up for us today. We'll be back Wednesday night. For Jim Bellamy, I'm Jim Funderburg. Have a great weekend, everybody. The Brits win tonight, and we're hoping to win on Wednesday night here on the Britain Sports Network.